this year, the Onslaught Legends Series. This is your chance to make the event truly awesome by boosting the prize pool and getting a cool 2D style and other goodies in the process. Contribute now.
Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Onslaught Legends Series Day 6. I got that part right, at least. Again today joined by Moff. A pleasant return, Moff. How are you doing today?
I am doing great. I am here to be your companion through Day 6 of the Onslaught Legends Series. I'm your resident native English speaking caster. I've been making lots of friends in the random Onslaught queue. Everyone is so lovely out there.
Yeah, random Onslaught queue is full of great enjoyment and fun. Yes, always a good time. But today, no random Onslaught queue, only competitive Onslaught queue between these teams. Let's take a look more at the calendar for today and for the future as well. I think that would be a good idea. But we have some good matches lined up today, Moff, for everybody at home. First up is going to be Clueless against W, which is again a match where we hope that Clueless will be able to do something. But again, reminding everybody, so today is the 26th of September. We have the first Sunday stream coming up, Moff.
Yes, the first Sunday stream, which will include the NA Onslaught series for the first time, I believe. So that should be interesting to see what happens there. We do have a surprise appearance from an NA representative in the first match we have today between Clueless and W. I'm going to be honest, I don't have much hope for this first match anymore.
That's not what. No. You're supposed to be the Clueless believer, so
I can only take so much
abuse,
suffering.
Yeah, disappointment. Yeah. Well, first up, Clueless versus W. That is going to be match number 1, and then normally at 18:45 we'll have Storm versus Hit and Run. Now, that should be a banger because that is a clash between the two teams that are going to China.
Yeah, and Hit and Run were not initially planned to go there, so there's been a bit of the classic Polish shuffle, some musical chairs, players on different teams there. Anyway, Drops campaign for today. I have actually done some homework and I know what is in the Drops token store now. You can get some lovely styles in there. There's some low-tier premium tanks that are available as well if you save up all of your tokens. The thing I would recommend to get from the token store is the Strength of Spirit style. I think that's the best looking one there. There's also some consumables and personal reserves available.
Yeah, so there's a little bit for everybody. If you don't want a tank, you can still get some other goodies as well. And the price pool, Moff, sadly you have not seemed to have hold up your end of the bargain, where you will boost it above 60k. I'm not sure what's happened there, but surely Moff will donate the last 220 euros to push us past 60k in the next 5 minutes. Right, Moff?
Yeah, surely that is something that's going to happen, but it keeps on ticking over. So it might yet get to that 60k prize pool.
Oh, it definitely will before the end of
NA, of course, also has the prize pool as well. 10k US dollars for the winning team and 5k for the second place team. We're going to see them on Sunday, of course.
We are indeed going to see them on Sunday. I can't recall exactly which of the two teams, of the two matches we're getting on Sunday. It's the semifinals, so it's Dopamine versus Escalate.
Stacked, isn't it? Oh, never mind.
No, Dopamine versus Escalate is one of the semis, and Stacked versus Smile is one of the semis. I just don't remember which one we're getting on this Sunday. Do you remember?
I think it's both of them, is it not?
Is it?
I believe so.
Is it truly?
Well, if we don't know, then someone will tell us eventually. Anyway, here's the table. And at the top, things are pretty close. We've got Storm and Hit and Run. That's going to be a clash at the top of the table later today. Both on 12 points at the moment. No one has been flawless so far.
Well, just a quick update. I just quickly checked on Wikipedia. Source of many information if you want to know about these tournaments. This September 29th is Dopamine versus Escalate, and then October 6th is Smile versus Stacked. Because we have 3 Sundays, one semi on each Sunday, and the grand finals together with the OLS grand finals on the last Sunday. But yeah, on the standings, Storm and Hit and Run, which is a match we're going to get later on. One of those two teams, Moff, is going to put themselves ahead
at the top of the leaderboard,
of the pack, one way or another. Who is it going to be? That has to be answered later. But today, believe it or not, W do want to win this match against Clueless. They're lagging behind the pack a little bit. They're those 3 points behind. They really need this 3 points as well to stay in the running.
Yeah, this could be a very good way for W to pick up what we would say is an easy 3 points. Clueless, of course, after what happened in the previous stream, the match against Conquest, that was really the one that they were eyeing up and the one that you would expect that they could have a chance to win. Mm-hmm. So it's very difficult to see where they're going to pick up any other wins in the last 2 weekends of Phase 1. W, however, going into this match, we know that they're the favorites and we'd expect them to win. But if there is anything that goes wrong in this match for them, it's really going to be them beating themselves, right? Rather than Clueless doing anything.
Wouldn't be the first time they beat themselves. Community prediction: 16% for Clueless, 84 for W. That's more for Clueless than I imagined this match would have.
Yeah, I'd say the 16% is mostly just people's doubts in the mind about W, rather than I don't mean to be harsh, but rather than giving Clueless any credit.
Now, what do you think Clueless is able to do? And again, we get the Gotcha Baby highlight. DPG falling though, day after day, it's going down, Moff. The cap strategies from last play day probably did not help him.
No, but it's still over 4K, which back in 2017, 2018, that was pretty good. But of course, this is an Onslaught tournament, so I don't think he'll mind too much about his DPG dropping as long as his team takes the victory. I mean, I'm sure he'd sacrifice another 1K there if they manage to pick up the win versus Clueless. Map pick and bans, though. The one very interesting thing I want to point out here is that W did not ban Westfield after what happened before against Storm, and Clueless have picked it. And what I'm thinking here, Clueless's logic is, what if they try to do the full batch chat strategy again, and then maybe we will have a chance? I've been trying to bait Frugo into trying it again. I'm like, go on, show us how amazing it is. Show us how it works, to maybe give Clueless a chance. So we'll see what happens there.
We will indeed see what happens there. Westfield is the map where I watched it finally, Moff. I don't know if you were there. Were you still there?
I was there. It was very entertaining.
It was very entertaining, especially the part where all of a sudden, one W player is there, then 5 W players are there, then some hit and run players are there, and then we're doing just a full match review at that point. It was pretty curious. They just start popping up randomly.
Yeah. So Westfield, that's really going to have to be the place where Clueless mount any kind of resistance, because Ensk, they played one round of it so far in the OLS, and it was terrible, like really bad. They even played it in qualifying for the OLS previously, and they were terrible on it then, so I'm kind of surprised they didn't permaban Ensk.
Bad against literally yeah. But what do you ban though, Moff?
Everything.
It's like, I'm surprised they didn't permaban Ensk. Okay, but what map would you rather play?
Well, their win rate is pretty atrocious across the board. Westfield is actually their best win rate map, which is 50%.
What map do they not have atrocious win ratio?
Westfield. It's 50%. That's the best win rate map.
And Ghost Town as well, but
and
Ghost
2
Town,
games, which is banned out.
And 50%. So, for them, there's not that much option, but I believe in literally Clueless, Moff. I do really believe that they are going to bring it home, unlike the English national team in the last 3 cups.
Yeah, you've got some renewed faith in Team Clueless as the predictions come through here. That is not a mistake, in fact. I think history would tell us that mine and Daki's predictions should probably be switched around, but that is the way that it's been written out. Daki has, I don't know, I guess they sent my copium shipment to the wrong address, apparently.
I found there's a newfound hope, you know, literally Clueless, the new beginning, and it starts today. It's like a movie, you know, and yeah, I don't know, I just woke up this morning and I was like, today is the day, man. Today is the day. Today, literally, Clueless takes it away, you know, and I filled in my prediction.
Yeah, I think technically, I don't know exactly how the tournament structure works, but if Clueless win their last 2 matches, they'll get 6 points, right? And that would put them level with W, I believe. So if they beat W in a head-to-head, does that mathematically mean that they make it to Phase 2?
If they what? Sorry.
If they win their last 2 matches, they'll get 6 points. They'll be on the same amount as W. And obviously they would have beaten W in a head-to-head, so I'm just wondering...
I would need to look at the exact head-to-head rules to say
but,
that. It depends if it's like...
It's a possibility.
If it's like... if the first rule is like performance against in individual matches, then yes. But it's not always that exactly, or structured that way. But first they have to win this match to start with that. Literally Clueless, it begins here. BZ and Ures for Bliskovices and an RHM. They're switching a little bit though to BZs and Ures. Whatever, Moff. Just W seems a lot easier.
They're playing some musical chairs, just flicking through the tanks that they've got available in their garage. They're still changing their lineup now, not quite sure what they want to pick. W, however, are bringing a Minotauro, which is quite interesting. I don't think we've seen that so far on Westfield. Then we got 3 Bliskovices, Gotcha Baby playing the Sente X, as is tradition, Miku in the Batchat, and Clerf with the RHM. Gonna watch out for Clerf today, see if he puts down some better planes. They were pretty poor in the previous match.
Wow, hating on Clurf's brains, that's crazy. This time around, Clurf seems to have missed
1.
2.
Or 2.
2.
Yeah, and who was it? Dady from Clueless got all 7 with the RHM, which is massive info. It gives them such an advantage early on here. But what do they do with that?
We'll see what they decide to use this info for. Dejdi's now starting to take 0 line though, going wide. He has a CS63 in support. The Udas is actually sniping from A5. Ferret might find a shot there against Solo. Activates ability on Solo, no activated ability on Ferret. So really, Ferret getting the worst end of the trade there still. Dejdi spots out Clurf, but Clurf already took the strike at this point. So far so good. Ferret and Solo trading it out a little bit more. Ian coming as well. They find Solo. Solo down towards the one shot, gets tracked, gets held, does make it around the corner, and literally Clueless starting it off really good, finding an isolated player in Solo. Miku now just pushing on towards Dejdi. He's not going to take a lot of damage for this. I mean, he will start clipping out, but Dejdi should probably just run down, and Miku is not really getting the trade that he would want there. I mean, losing half his HP for this Moff, I'm not sure about that one altogether either. That's just more ground taken for Clueless in round number 1.
Yeah, I feel like Dady could have stayed up there because he might have been able to tank the shells against the Batchat, and we know the RHM with the HE shells has pretty cracked DPM. Clerf now pushing in, trying to pick up the kill on Dady, but Dady just being very difficult to kill here because he's hiding underneath the bridge. Miku taking a lot of damage as well, down to 600 health, and Lynx is now going to repush. If Dady can get a replane on towards Clerf, he does have a plane available. If he can use that, then he's going to be able...
Oh, Dejdi misses that one as well, but he does have that plane available indeed. And look at the HP Moff currently. 5,000 lead for literally Clueless against W in round number 1. It seems that earlier in the day for literally Clueless, they're more awake, and W already wanting to go to sleep, but they're getting put to sleep in round number 1. 4,000 HP lead for literally Clueless. Only Dejdi really in the danger zone, and I mean, picking off the RHM off on this map is not that easy. And now they're starting to repressure here with David. They find Solo. He's behind a building. Can David find the kill here? That would be huge to start it off with. Ferret is aiming for it as well. He misses because of the building. David really trying to find that shot through that building, but is not able to do so. Ian now pushing on towards Click instead. Solo still alive, but now Lynx joining as well. Click down towards a 2-shot. Ferret peeking around the corner. He will find the kill on towards Click. First tank down for the side of W. The HP is getting closer, but they find another one. Solo is now dead. Lynx though, and Ian gonna take a big strike on towards both of those tanks. Baby finds Lynx. Now Jakefa finds Ian, and maybe Moff, it's not all over just yet.
It's not all over just yet, but they do have Clue for the late game. But Dady is still alive in his RHM as well, and he's gone all the way over towards the cap circle. The W tanks are really split apart right now. We've got a Minotaur in the north, that's Frugo. By himself, there's no one really close enough to support him right now. Dady is going to be able to go and take the radio in B1. That's a good shot by Frugo, though, into Kushti. That is the kind of damage output that they need, because they're down about 2k here, and they're down in guns as well. Ferret now capturing the strike for the side of Clueless, and it's looking pretty good for them right now, but they've got to close it out in this endgame.
Klurf takes a shot as well, though, in his RHM down towards a one-shot strikes available. Gotcha Baby and Miko trying to get some shots in from the side, but not able to do enough just yet. Single cap pressure, double cap pressure now. Eclipse going to be joining to make a triple cap pressure. Ferret, David, they're all retreating towards the north. This is a good adjustment from Clueless. They just have to be careful with Dejdi not to lose that RHM to a potential overpeak against Klurf for strike, and then Klurf to finish it off. But 3-man cap, and now it's going to be on Klurf without a plane to actually spot the cap off, and they're splitting up really good here on the side of literally Clueless. You see Kushdi and Eclipse. Oh, and there goes Dejdi. He's dead because of this. Gotcha Baby actually finds the kill with the strike, and Klurf was the one that got the shot, and that was the danger there for literally Clueless. They're still doing quite alright though, but they have to be careful not to throw this.
Yeah, Kushti over-peaking there, a little bit over-eager. Eclipse has Frugo completely locked down. He doesn't need to poke right now. Eclipse should pick up the kill on Frugo, but he misses another shot. Bit of spaghetti hands coming here at the end, but there's a strike from Ferret on towards Klurf. That means the crossfire is now removed. Frugo goes down. Davidstein picks up the kill there, and Clueless look to be taking the first round here on Westfield. There is not really anything for Gotcha Baby or Miku to do in this one. Ferret now hunting him down, trying to pick up this last kill here. His debut in the Onslaught Legends Series, the first NA player here. He's awake nice and early here. As we know, Daki, NA is 3 days ahead of the meta, and Clueless have used that to their advantage to pick up the first round.
Really, really good stuff there from literally Clueless coming in on the Westfield. Their highest win ratio map delivering. Making it a positive win ratio map for them currently. And another Westfield and another disappointment from W.
Yeah, and it did look good initially because they managed to catch Dady a little bit in the open, but Miku just went straight for him, right? And there was there was a good crossfire setup. The CS was in perfect position. We said Dady misplayed a little bit because he could have just stayed up and tanked the clip, but
at the same time, though,
it turned out it was pretty good.
I understand why Dejdi went down, though, if you think about him off. Because, like,
yeah,
imagine you
he
stay
doesn't
up.
Want to...
Imagine you stay up, and then the RHM, Klurf wasn't that close, but if Klurf is closer and he peeks between the bridge, then you just, like, take free damage from the RHM because you can't shoot everybody, right?
I think that, you know, he could tank the clip from the Batchat, and then the Batchat would die, but then Dady would almost certainly be a one-shot, right? And that would mean Klurf...
If Klurf is closer, he just dies.
Yeah.
He literally just dies, and then it's a bad shot for an RHM, and it's not that bad of a trade for W. Because RHM is a extremely potent tank, and even more so if there's no counterplanes.
Yeah, it's always... If you can trade a Batchat for one of those light tanks, it's always better. I've had a couple of games where I just torpedo into an EBR on a map like Live Oaks, for example, and it's still a positive trade for your team because you deny any info being taken.
Yeah, it's crazy. It also depends, you know, if the EBR is spotted for like a solid 35 seconds straight and literally everybody on your team decides to not hit him, that is like, you know, kind of a factor you have to take into account, right? But outside
I don't know what you could be referring to. Maybe we can discuss it in a bit more detail when we see Ghost Town later on in the day.
Yeah, we can look at the EBR equipment then as well and just figure out what is the good one to go for. No, but for Clueless this is amazing though, and for W it's always like, how does Solo just get isolated and drop to this? He did 0 damage.
Yeah, that's the thing. Initially it looked like Ferret was the one that was getting caught out, right? Because he didn't pop his ability, but Ferret had a building to hide behind, and Clueless had all these crossfire angles on towards Solo, and you maybe question the decision to go for the strike from that side. It's not... The strike isn't so valuable that you should sacrifice a tank for it.
No. The ability, he should have activated it, nonetheless, to be honest, even with that. But they did manage to find him, and then it just got worse for W throughout that round. The Batchat and Klurf... I mean, again, if Klurf and Miku do this play at the same time, where Miku goes 0 line and Klurf goes under, they will probably kill Dash D, right? Because they can just keep torpedoing him. But it was all felt so disjointed. Like, they weren't making the moves together whatsoever.
Yeah, it's just a solo play from Miku. Like, you have a team, you're on comms together, and he made the kind of play that we would see in a random game. So, yeah. And also, the key thing, Cluf not getting that plane in the beginning, that means they didn't even know that there was a CS. So Miku probably thought it was free, right?
Yeah, probably.
Round number 2, though. W a bit shell-shocked. And we've said with this team, you never know what you're going to get. Life is like... W is like a box of chocolates. You don't know what kind of W performance you will be seeing today, but they've switched it up a little bit. And it's going to be double Badger, triple Bliskovica, still the Sente-X of Got You Baby, Clurf in the RHM. Clueless are juggling between their tanks again, so we will see what their finalized lineup is, but they are bringing Dady once again in the RHM. Looks like David Stein is going to be locked in with the BZ75. Still some Bliskovica, still some Badgers. Uda's pick over the Sente-X is interesting, though.
Yeah, and then W, AX, double Badger, triple Bliska, and an RHM. So a lot of potential for that northern fight, that clash with the double Badger, with the Bliskovicas. Let's see the planes in the beginning. Dejdi getting 5, sorry. He misses the Bliska and the RHM. Klurf in return getting 3 again.
Yeah, another not so good plane.
To be fair, though, they've been doing pretty well against Klurf, like driving different directions to like dodge his planes.
This is something that I've been wanting teams to do more often, as Gotcha Baby pokes into the middle to get the info that the plane did not receive. But I've been wanting teams more to try and dodge the plane at the start, because if you can deny that info, it's so powerful.
Look at sorry to interrupt. Look at C8 Moff. Look how quickly that bad shot is driving under Klurf.
And he's not spotted either.
He wasn't hyper aggressive there. He will find this one for free, no?
Yeah, Klurf is not going to be ready for this, and if he goes forwards, then there should be Dady to be able to provide shots, but Klurf is not spotted. Ferret has gone round the back, and Klurf, with a great bush, has perhaps accounted for this possibility. He almost probably pooped his pants there when he saw the Batchat coming behind, but so fortunately for him, he is not lit, and that could change everything here. The Sente-X of Gotcha Baby is rotating over towards A5. They're going to try and deal with this Batchat together.
Daisy still in position to help this out, though. Now goes D spotted. Gotcha Baby needs to be careful with this play as well. And Ferret actually running down the 0 line. Gap getting reset once more. There will have to be a block, I would assume, somewhere soon. And David seems to be the one to actually be forced in with his BZ. But Moff, that's not the ideal time for this.
No, the Bliskovica might be able to get shots on. I can't remember what the gun depression is on that tank, but I don't think it's super easy. It would actually be preferable if they had a Badger over there, because then he could perhaps even peek in towards Davidstein and snipe his Cupola. So, stalemate on the cap for now. Good shot from Davidstein, probably hitting the Cupola there of the Bliskovica. Miku taken down to 1.9k HP. The other side of the map
strikes are coming back, though, Moff.
Yeah, the strikes are coming back, and Clueless have control of them at the moment.
On a timer, Imo. If they wait for this double strike to get retaken, or at least one of them, it's gonna start hurting them.
Yeah, I'm still looking at Ferret on the minimap in A0. He's just kind of sticking around there. He's not pushing up, he's not overcommitting, but... Oh, Clurf gets spotted out now. Ooh, I don't know what happened there or how he got spotted.
Dejdi. Probably was trying to reset Dejdi, but now W takes this as an opportunity to peek up and over. David trying to body block, trying to extend his life just a little bit longer, but it does not get extended whatsoever. He gets absolutely deleted from the battlefield, and here comes a big strike though from literally Clueless. That's huge. That's that's around 1k damage actually, because some of them had the ability activated. And now though, Crossfire coming in, Gotcha Baby, Solo, Click, all taking damage consecutively, and now Click dropped towards 453. Ferret pressuring Klurf, and still could be anybody's game. I think W needs to find a position to push from.
Yeah, Ferret should be able to find Klurf here. Klurf's got to try and run away and stall out for as long as possible, because he's completely isolated from the rest of his team. Ian now is the next chosen one from Clueless. Ferret does pick up a kill on Click. He's sniping them from behind. He's providing crossfire on towards Solo as well. Ian into the cap.
Look at the HP now, back in the favor of literally Clueless Moth. It swung around so quickly. Ferret actually doing a really good job there together with Dejdi. And now they find Gotchi Baby as well. They got Gotchi Baby. I mean, he's going to leave it to Dejdi actually to kill him, which is a bit interesting because, you know, Dejdi is an RHM, Dejdi misses the shot, and now Ferret is actually going to be on reload. Is this the throw from literally Clueless? Gotchi Baby finds Dejdi. I mean, Ferret should find Clurf at least, you would hope.
Yeah, Ferret should have gone for the kill on towards the Sente X there, because Dady cannot roll him unless he shoots HE in the back, and as it is, Dady falls. Clurf now trying to 1v1 with Ferret there. Ferret not a one-shot for HE from the RHM. Ferret trying to pick up the kill, but Clurf stalling out behind the building, but he picks up the kill nonetheless, but there's only 3 tanks left for the side of Clueless, and W have somehow managed to make this work.
What a throw. Well, that's actually a throw, no?
Yeah, that was looking so good for Clueless, and suddenly it just spun on its head.
Everything starting to go downhill once the AX kills their HM. He had a little bit of issues there for the side of literally Clueless, some coordination issues. They seem to be doing quite alright, but then all of a sudden...
I cannot understand why Ferret decides to leave the Sente X there. He's right there as well. Like, he could just... He's right there. He can easily kill him. But I can understand his logic. He's thinking, oh, I need to go and kill the RHM. That's really important to get that kill. But, you know, like, just take the kill that you've got presented in front of you.
Yeah, well, I completely agree with that. And it's going to be W to pick up round number 2. But for them, this was a hard-fought round where, realistically, I think we could say that Clueless could have gone 2-0 here.
They could have, and they probably should have done. They probably should have done. And your prediction...
It would have been, dude.
It would have been
on form, man. If they won that round, it would be 2-0, and everybody would be like, he's a visionary. He sees things that we have not.
That was a very bad game for Clueless to lose. But just to reiterate the point, that W just looks shaky all the time, right? Every game they play, nothing ever looks safe or guaranteed. Clurf in the beginning, though, was he fortunate, or was it just good positioning to sit in the bush there? Because that could have been a disaster.
Fortunate-ish. Because if Ferret doesn't go for A-line, but just comes close first, he would probably figure out that he's on the left, you know? Now there was a few angles where he could have gone spotted from.
Perhaps. It would also be difficult for him to proxy him as well, because with 25 meters, it's you have to be pretty much inside the bush almost to be able to spot out the light tanks. But as it is, the map gets split 1-1. Clueless, going into the match, they probably would have been happy to split it 1-1, but after that, they're going to be disappointed they're not on match point already. Ensk is going to be up next, and neither of these teams really have a good track record here.
No, Ensk not a map that either of the two are performing on too much, but I think we also have to take into account that we should probably delete those first 2 rounds that W played on it.
Yeah, it was quite an experimental lineup. Bringing a Sente X, it's a very popular tank on other maps, but bringing it on Ensk is quite a bizarre choice, and it's weird that W even want to pick Ensk to begin with, but I suppose their logic is, we're bad on Ensk, but we think Clueless we think they're worse, so if we're just marginally less bad than them, then we can take it.
That's an interesting logic to go by. It's also more of a brawly map, right? Like super brawly, and they have shown that they really like brawling this season. They've tried to go for it all the time with the Bliskas, for example, so not the biggest surprise in that regard. If you want to go for a brawl at some point, Ensk is pretty good for that. You know you're gonna have one.
Yeah, you have to coordinate those pushes well, though, because Ensk, with all of those different angles that you can take on rails, all the different alleyways that you can get shot through, if a team is well positioned and set up for these pushes, they can really shut down any kind of aggressive plays.
How many Bliskas?
I don't think that many. I think teams really prefer picking... I said this in the previous stream. I think teams really prefer picking the E4 here and 268. 268 is actually the most picked tank, by a long shot in the entire OLS. Like, it's way more than any other tank picked.
Let's see the lineups. W, that seems pretty much what they want to play. Quad V4, an E3, an E4, and a bad shot. Alright.
Yeah, some V4s in there. E3, E4, Jakifer playing that tank. We got Ferret playing the E4 for the side of literally Clueless. I think he's been a pretty positive contribution so far. Apart from that oversight at the end of that game where he didn't go for the AX, I think he's done a pretty good job in the first 2 games so far. But both teams with pretty similar lineups. The only difference really is the bat chat.
Yeah, but the bad shot can be very potent in brawls.
He's going to spot.
Yeah, he can spot, but he can also, when the brawl comes out off, the bad shot is powerful. Because if he does get to reload and reload and reload, he's pretty good. He doesn't spot anything though.
Yeah, it's just Ian who spotted in the beginning, and that was by Frugo.
Anyways, so.
Yeah. That's quite a committed play from Gotch Baby to go down that rail, because if there's anyone aiming down there, one of those E4s, then he would, there's not really any escape there. He would get blasted, but as it is, he's going to go back over towards A0 and just hide there for a bit. Strike is being taken by Davidstein in the 705A. Clueless, sorry, W are clearing out the city. Link's taking a shot for free though from Click, so early trades going slightly in favor of W.
It's not just Link's though, both the E4's taking a shot as well, I think, from Frugo respectively. Link's missing on Click, Click not missing in return. You know, all of this stuff is kind of just unfortunate in the beginning, right?
It is unfortunate, but like, at what point is it just a skill issue? This is why I say Ensk is one of those high. It's one of those higher skill cap maps, right? Because it's all about these trades
I'm
that go
certain
on.
that if Lynx is standing still and aiming at a V4, he's aiming at the correct place. That much faith I have, at the very least.
Well, he's backed off now towards the J line, trying to get some support from his team if any kind of push does come through. But W don't look like they want to make any more progress through the city. They're actually rotating back on the 1-2 line, probably going to re-push field from the looks like it. And that would actually be not too bad right now, given where Clueless tanks are.
There's no spot on the rotation either, because David will only see them in front of him. Maybe Dashty is spotting that when they come around the corner at A6, A7, but not entirely sure. Depends kind of where he's playing as well. There are, of course, lines on this map, angles that you can see. Ian will not be spotting it in his V4, so this question is, when does this little push here get spotted? If it's late, it's really, really bad for Clueless. Dashty still does AC's the first one. That should give David all the info
That's
he
still
needs.
pretty late, though.
Yeah,
that's still pretty late. The info comes in. Ferret immediately, you can see, rotating over. Shot comes in from Dady, but the range damage drop-off of the Bliskowitzer means he doesn't do a whole lot. Davidstein has backed off into a position that is going to help him survive for a little bit longer, but he will get swarmed nonetheless. Click pushing in behind the 705A, and there's no armor there to protect him. Good strike. That does a bit of damage, and the trades. Davidstein trying to run away though, but that's just not going to happen. He should have backed off into the buildings. Trading it out though, Solo takes quite a bit of damage. He does fall, and what do Clueless do now?
Well, they moved their whole team over here, so it's a face-off of 6v7. Can they find some crossfires is the question. I think David made a massive play there, a misplay actually. He had time to accept some damage and back off fully, but decided to stay, and I think that's a complete and utter mistake from the player there in the 705A. It's better to accept the damage and live than to die. Now Ferret peeking against Solo, trying to get a kill out in this regard. Won't find the shot. Can he find it now against a 216 V4? Still looking for it. Taking a while here. He's getting flanked in the meantime. He does drop Solo towards the one shot, but the punish in return is going to be pretty significant as Ferret now gets pounded by not one, not two, but probably 3 TDs as the rest of W move in. And now Kushti seems to be the next one on the chopping board as he is surrounded and held as well. And for literally Clueless, round number 1 on ends could have gone a lot better, but for W, it's absolutely perfect.
Yeah, it was a good round from W. Does not really... Didn't look like Clueless had any fight in them on this map. It was pretty much over since it began. Initial trades went against them, and Davidstein, like you said, if he'd have just backed off to the buildings, if he just backed off to the buildings, not only does he only lose a bit more of HP for it, but he allows his team to get back into the fight so they can trade off of him dying. But like, because he was so committed forward, no one was able to support him, and he just went down for free.
Yeah, no, David saw a tank in front of him and decided to stop, and I think that's a mistake. He should and could have run away, IMO, if he went through the entrance on between the 7 and 8 line, turned left, kept turning left, and ran away through there. Okay, you take 1 or 2 shots, but maybe they get overconfident. Maybe they keep pushing, overcommit into your entire team coming behind you. Now it was just a free kill.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't. I suppose what you're saying is, with that mistake from Davidstein, that they didn't, because he didn't live, they didn't give W the opportunity to throw, really, because, you know, if the closer you can keep the game, the more opportunity there is for you to recover it later on. Click coming top damage, Frugo doing 8 out of 8 pens, 100% hit rate there, very nice. Got to maybe doing a bit of damage in the bat chat, but it's mostly just cleanup crew there, only solo dying with basically nothing. The side of Clueless, it was really just in descending order of who died last. Dady on the 0 line did a bit more damage than everyone else because he was farming while Davidstein was getting pushed on towards, but that's pretty much it.
Nonetheless, though, they have one more opportunity here, Muff, to make it to tiebreaker. I don't think they're gonna do it, but we can keep faith and hope that literally Clueless is going to bring it home on the second round of Ensk. Yes.
I don't believe. I've already said how I feel about Clueless on Ensk, and they pretty much live up to their name on this map. They don't really seem to know how they want to play it, and it's a very tricky map. It's not suited to everyone. I think it is actually the least played map in the pool so far, because a lot of the teams just like to ban it out anyway.
That will change, though. I mean, this thing will change once we get into the BO7s.
Yeah,
I mean, not necessarily that it won't be the most banned map anymore, but there's potential that it starts getting played more.
They'll have to play it, right? Because in best of 7s there's more rounds, so eventually it will have to come out. It could also just be the case that teams are kind of saving their strats on those maps, because they, you know, if they'd have done
you have to be careful with that, though, Moff, because sometimes we get this mid-season update, you know?
What do you mean?
For random Onslaught.
I am just like Clueless. I am unaware of.
Sometimes they change the abilities a little bit at some point. You remember?
Ah, right.
So if you're saving strats, you could run into the issue that, you know, sometimes they change significant things, sometimes not. You know.
Are you hinting at foreknowledge or just speculation?
No, I have no clue. This is not information that I would need to know, so I wouldn't know it beforehand.
Well, if anything does change there, then that could fundamentally change the nature of how some of the maps are played and the established meta. As it is, Clueless, they've got to win this round, otherwise they are out of this the contest. If they lose this match, then they mathematically will be eliminated from the OLS in Phase 1, so it's pretty much all on the line right now.
It is indeed all on the line.
Actually, I think that might not be true. The maths might be wrong there,
yes.
But as it is, Clueless, they still need to win. It's still very important. That much is true. And they are bringing triple 268v4, an E3, an E4 again, 705A of Davidstein, W. They're bringing the Batchat again, 46 EV4s.
No, actually they changed one. Did they have... No, they changed.
Oh, never mind.
They didn't have a 705A last round, and didn't they have an E4? Did they have an E4? They did, right? Now they have W3?
They did have an E4 previously. I do wonder what the difference of choice is there with the E3 versus E4, because, you know, they are they are somewhat similar. Obviously, the E4 has a 180-degree turret, which makes it a little bit more flexible.
E3 you pick for the like kind of rail play that they're doing now, where you just wanted to sit and look one direction. E4 is the tank you actually use for mobility to move around and not to be locked in one position. E3s don't really do well when they're moving around, you know? But E4s can. And E4s also just get blasted if they have to play the rails. E3s, even though you have like 375 pen, it's kind of annoying to pen an E3, even with all the modifiers.
Yeah, it's only really the Jagdpanzer that can
Well, the
provide
doesn't
too much
care
of a problem.
about anything.
Yeah, that very much is true. But again, initial trades going in favor of W. It's so important, this early chip damage, and David Stein's already down 1/3 of his HP. He will collect the strike though. But again, the early trades going in favor of W. They're also pressuring on every side of the map right now. They're taking the city for free. Gotcha Baby is actually going to collect the info tower with his Batchat, and that's going to give them such an advantage.
Lynx better hurry up to quickly though, because he's currently in a 2v1 until that second 268 v4 arrives. He's going to be backing off though, rightfully so at this moment in time. Gotcha Baby misses on a shot there, and actually Clueless have stabilized a little bit now, Moff. They've done some damage in return at the very least, and are able to potentially pressure the city. I mean, double v4 versus Batchat and v4. I know which trade I would pick.
Yeah, the v4s will be bit of a menace to the Batchat, but of course with their Juggernaut ability, 1 HP of track health, they may find themselves going around a corner and just getting perma-track and clipped by a Batchat, but as they push up into the city, they're still taking yet more damage. 2k down. Jakov has taken quite a bit of damage in middle. Miku's actually in a bit of trouble now because he cannot back up. Eclipse is aiming in his E3 behind, and he's getting peeked on towards from D3.
Yeah, if they were actually able to pressure E-line here, Miku fires the shot, was connected. If they're actually able to, ooh, nice connection there on
I think
Miku.
that was Dady.
But look at the, look at right now at the minimap them off. Look what's happening. It's a repeat story of round number 1 on Ensk.
Yeah, W making the unspotted rotation. They do have Miku in a bit of trouble this time though, so it's not quite the same scenario.
Yeah.
Clerv taking a shot for free as well. So the trades are a little bit more even this time, but Davidstein getting pushed on towards Ian is a bit closer now to support him, so hopefully for their sake they will be able to trade a little bit better this time. Both Frugo and Solo trying to pincer Davidstein from 2 different directions, and poor Davidstein is just not having a good time in his 705A.
No, he's not having a good time whatsoever. Deshdi is now getting pushed on by the remainder of the W team. Ian actually backing off all the way on the rails. Miku will fall here, and that's what you said, that's what you mentioned. They do have exposed tanks this time around. Deshdi now getting clipped out by Gotcha Baby. I don't think he will get a reload out after all. But no, he actually will get one more shot, but he misses it. That could have been very, very important here for the side of literally Clueless. I mean, that would have dropped him towards a one-shot, so that would have been very, very important. Click now getting strike, getting held, the big strike coming out. Lynx might actually dodge it though, so not as big as it could have been. And fairly in a little bit of an annoying crossfire position.
But look at the north. Look at the north. Ian is getting pushed on towards that. Batchat has flanked him. Gotcha Baby will pick up the kill. And now they are leading in the guns and the HP department. Gotcha Baby is going to be able to flank around the back, so Clueless have no option. They have to push forwards into these guns, but Jakifa is doing a good job trying to face hug. Ferret does pick up the kill, however. Lynx now trying to push on towards Frugo, but with the ability, the Juggernaut 30% damage reduction, it's just going to take so long to take him down.
They also would need to pen every single shot, which is simply something they're not doing right now. And the biggest issue is that the Batchat is coming in and coming off of reload. Him together with Solo finding another kill, and for literally Clueless again, they run into a repeat of round number 1 where they get pressured down the 7-0 line, and W finds too much there to actually be able to do something about it. Maybe it could have been better for literally Clueless, but at the end of the day, it's going to be 3-1 for W in match number 1.
The lack of info costs them, right? And I think if they were able to take the info tower in the city, that would have enabled them to push in behind a lot sooner than they had, but I think it was still on cooldown because Gotcha Baby took it earlier in the round. But it's kind of a difficult position for them, right? Because they can't... I mean, they could blind push in the city, but it's a pretty high risk to take, right? That there's going to be just no one there from the side of W.
Okay, for top damage, 4k. I mean, the 3 is paying off there. Across the board, pretty good performance from the W players. Pen ratio wise, also pretty good. And, you know, same story as round number 1 on Ensk. Initially, Clueless getting out traded.
Yeah, they lost the initial HP trades, and it does tend to add up on maps like Ensk, right? I mean, if they had 2k HP extra in the end, then you know, it just swings things a little bit in the momentum. As it is, that is match 1 done. W do take it 3-1. It's pretty convincing on Ensk, not quite so convincing on the Westfield games, but they do pick up the win, which is the most important thing. 3 points on the board. They go move up to 9. Clueless stay on the bottom with 0 points, and they have lost all 6 matches they've played. Hopefully we're going to have some more competitive matches later on today.
Wow, I think Clueless was hyper competitive, actually. Just didn't go their way, but next time around, both me and Moff will be voting for them in the prediction, just to cheer them on that little bit more. That was it for round number 1, though. When we come back, we will see a clash at the top of the table. Hit and Run versus Storm, both on 12 points. One of them is going to take the lead in the Onslaught Legends Series, but that is coming up right after some replays. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Onslaught Legends Series, day number 6. And now we are heading into match number 2, Moff, and this match is a very, very good one.
Well, in theory.
In theory.
We never really know, but it should be a pretty good one. All of the history tells us that. We've got the Polish derby, Storm against Hit and Run. Both teams on 12 points, both at the top of the leaderboard, both going to China as well. Both have players who have been to China before, so a lot to expect here.
Yeah, this is a clash on the top of the leaderboard currently, both of them sitting on 12. One of them will take position number 1 after this play day is over. It is no other way. They are both very formidable so far, not really dropping the ball, and for Hit and Run, that's the more impressive factor almost, Moff, because they were really struggling for a while there.
Yeah, they had a slow start to the series. We keep referencing that shock win that Solyanka took over them in match day number 1, but they seem to have exercised some demons. They've kind of got back to the form that we've seen from them in the past. They're building up back to that true potential. Storm, they've been just quietly getting the job done. They haven't had like super convincing wins, I would say, but they're taking the wins nonetheless.
Yeah, they have been taking the wins. They've been struggling a little bit, but I will, however, repeat what we said earlier, is that Storm, in the beginning of the season, played all of their more easier matches, you would say, Moff.
Yeah, they played what we would consider the 4 weakest teams first, going into the event. Last week they played against Mafia, and they won that pretty convincingly. They also beat W 3-0. Predictions actually in favor of Storm, 53% versus 47%, so very, very tight.
Which is exactly what it should be in this kind of matchup. I mean, top of the table. I think I voted for Hit and Run. I think you did for Storm?
I went for Storm in tiebreaker, which is kind of how you cover yourself and say,
it's
oh,
like covering all your
could
bases.
go either way.
Yeah, and then if they lose, it's like, oh, well, but at least they made it to tiebreaker, right? It was close. I was almost right. No, I get that. Ketsai, yeah. I think he's trying to win the statistic of most played tanks throughout the season.
Yeah, he's the jack of all trades, just picking every tank that is available in Onslaught. 3.4k average damage, but what's more impressive to me is the pen ratio, because the pen rate is always the critical thing, right? Even if you die very early on because you get pushed, as long as you hit all your shots, then you're going to be well on the way to winning the round for your team.
Map pick and bans then. Cliff getting removed, Pilsen getting removed gives us Ghost Town and Morovanka. A slow map into what could be an extremely fast one.
Yeah, I don't think this is really home turf for either of these teams from what we've seen before. Storm actually banned Westfield, which is peculiar given the history that they have on the map, but they did have a pretty bad series on it versus Solyanka where they just got absolutely slapped, so maybe they're not feeling so comfortable on it anymore.
Now, what do you think of the picks itself, though? Like between Ghost Town and Morovanka, because I'm looking at the statistics right now, Moff, and Morovanka has not been such a good map for Hit and Run.
Yeah, but perhaps they think that's down to misfortune and things that they, because you can look at your replays, you can analyze what happened and think, okay, if we did this, or if we reacted differently, then this would have been fine. So from their point of view, they probably think they've ironed out some mistakes, so they still feel comfortable picking it. Predictions, obviously you and Key going with Hit and Run, which is perfectly acceptable. Me going for a tiebreaker win for Storm. I am very curious what we're going to see from Ghost Town, though. We were alluding to it earlier, the EBRs on Ghost Town. It's become not a mandatory pick, but it's become a very commonplace tank to see on this map. And
Cashback loves
those light tank trades. Those light tank trades are so important, right? But as you know as well as I do, it doesn't matter how good your light tank is if your team doesn't hit their shots.
You can play him 4 times in a row. It does not matter if your team is not capable of hitting, but that's only one of the strategies that you can play, though, because look at Hit and Run already, Moff. An E5 double batch at a CS 268 V4 stamps 2 and an E4, probably no Eastern side shenanigans.
No, it looks like they're going to go for some sort of aggressive play. Storm also But they are bringing a light tank in comparison, which is going to be very powerful, so a lot of pressure on towards Lucan to get some work done, especially with the early plane to try and give his team some info. We've seen a clash of strategies on this map where Cashback like to play slow with a more varied setup for map control. They did actually get countered by Solyanka, who did a very aggressive push with 268v4s, so maybe we're going to see something like that.
That's potentially the case. Initial plane from Lucan catches 6 players though.
Yeah, that's a very strong plane. Gives him a lot of info, and it means he gets a replaying available very early on. Mentos, though, going for the strike initially, I think he's going to decide not to commit to that. If he does, then he is a bit of a crazy person. Jackie, though, taking so much damage early on, and he has a damaged engine. I'm sure he has a repair kit. I'm sure he just used it to repair his tracks, so he'll get that back in no time.
They're trying to find some sort of a push here, an overmatch, but they have to be careful because that batch from H1 is going to ruin Chucky from behind soon. And
look at Lucan,
Lucan is going to sneak behind the likes of Monster in the near future as well. So Hit and Run needs to find something here that they can push off. Ketsai trying to take the strike. He's watching towards that bat shot. He will be able to pick it up. No, this actually does get reset right before he takes that. Good shooting there. Now double bat shot arriving on 1-2. Ketsai does see the shots whizzing past him. Mentos not backing off as well. But so far you could say that Storm is doing a really good job at holding this pressure.
Yeah, they're just denying any control that Hit and Run wants to take early on here. Yuzik put in a good shot to Ketsai, who's down a little bit of HP. Mentos is kind of caught between a rock and a hard place here. He's being crossfired. The Batchats potentially have shots on him as well. And Piotr can't really do anything about it because it's a 2v1 situation. He can't just go in and do a clip. He's just got to watch his teammate die. Mentos now crossing in the middle of the open. He's surely going to go down for this play.
I mean, he has to go down for this play. He's trying to extend his life for as long as possible, but Storm have done a really good job initially at holding this pressure off. Now Panther Fury and Chucky driving through the cap actually. They're gonna go for that E5 of Sir Jacob and even for the RHM Panzerwagen of Lucan. Maybe they can find something there. HP is within playable area. Sir Jacob survives barely from that jump. T-Sec already starting to shoot Lucan. I like it. That's good planning. They really want to pick up this RHM. They know that they're gonna get Jacob either way, but they're trying to do a 2-in-1.
Yeah, Jacob dropping off, just wasting a little bit more time. It's all these little details that add up. Lucan did manage to get out despite taking quite a lot of damage, and as long as he's alive in the RHM, that's all that really matters. He doesn't really need health to be sniping in the crossfire. Meanwhile, Storm are picking up kills on the other side of the map. Ketsai has fallen. Piotr in the Batchat has been caught in the 2v1 situation. Lackey now collecting a strike. Pansfury trying to get a cheap shot on towards Jordan, but he is ready for that as well. And Storm, they're up in guns, they're up in HP, and they have the better positions.
Yeah, there was some potential there, but I think this potential only existed as long as Piotr was alive. If he was,
he needed to run a lot sooner.
He needed to get out. As soon as Mentos was dying, I think he needed to start running, you know? And if he gets out, then maybe they have something to play from. Maybe, because they would have 5 tanks, it would be 5v6, but they'd have a full HP bad shot.
Yeah, T-Sec just trying to make something happen because you have to just try and hope for something here in this situation. But Lucan picks up the kill, sniping from the back in his RHM. Now Storm are going to group up with their tank destroyers. That's Lackey and Jordan who are going to push on towards Pan's Fury. The cleanup crew is here and ready to end this round here and now. Lucan from the back, the double 268 pushing in from the front. Lackey does take a lot of damage and gets set on fire, but that doesn't really matter at this point in the game.
Fire.
He had a very rare fire, but true, because the new Onslaught modifiers, getting set on fire by your engine is impossible, but you can still get fuel tank fire, but even that is unlikely because of the 50% reduction to module damage in this mode.
Yeah, it's very rare to see a fire. I can count to them on one hand, I think, the amount of fires I've done this season, and it's always a surprise, like, ooh, fire. Interesting.
Yeah, and that's how it should be, right? I remember in previous Onslaught tournaments, it felt like people were getting set on fire every single round.
I mean, everybody
didn't feel like it probably was.
To counter, you know.
I think Hit and Runs were the main adopters of that, right?
Fire extinguishers, yes.
Yeah, they made it mandatory for all of their players to run that equipment.
Did work for them though. Didn't work that well for them at the same time. But round number 1, Storm really dealt with this initial pressure in a very, very good way. No issue whatsoever. Lukin didn't do much, but he gave the information, right?
Yeah, he did his job, and that's kind of the way it should be, right? If the RHM is doing his job and the rest of the team is doing theirs, then the RHM should basically do nothing, right? He's just there to provide information for the team. He gave them the early info, which was allowed them to react better to what Hit and Run were presenting.
He also shuts down the eastern side by himself, so I mean, he didn't do much in this game, but the info was very important. And I guess they knew there was no light tank available, even because nobody got spotted in the beginning. And I think Ghost Town is one of the maps where you insta-plane, either way. So, really good stuff. Storm now gonna look to make that 2-0 here on Ghost Town, but can they do it? That's a big question. This was Hit and Run's second game, apparently, on Ghost Town. For Storm, it was also their second game. They really haven't... Like, the main map from Hit and Run this season has been Morovanka. For Storm, it has been a little bit of everything. Like, they've played Airfield, they've played El Haloof, they've played Ensk, they've played Ghost Town, Pilsen, Solyanka, Westfield. With, like, 5 of them having 3 and 4 battles. So they've really been a jack of all trades in that regard. They have played every map outside of Cliff and Muro.
I think that's important, though. They need to, if you want to take the championship ultimately, especially when we get to the best of sevens
the grand finals,
and best of nines, it's very important that you've got a strong map pool and you know what you're doing on every single map, because you know otherwise you're going to get punish picked, right? If you have a map that you are particularly weak on, you bet that your opponent is going to pick it because you can't always ban it out.
It's really interesting that they are going to face Morovanka, though. Either way, there's going to be one round of Morovanka no matter what happens. So they're going to add another map to their plate part. So then it would only leave Cliff. I think they're one of the few teams, from what I'm seeing, is that is this versatile. The only team that comes close, Moff, or is more versatile than them in terms of what maps they play, is W and Solyanka.
Solyanka, they don't really have any...
W have only played one map, and that is Airfield.
Yeah, and I don't blame them for not picking Airfield. I think we can both agree that the kind of gameplay that you expect from that map is not particularly engaging, and hopefully something will get changed on that.
At the same time, we have maps that are extremely fast, like really extremely fast, so having something that is the far opposite end of the spectrum is not necessarily a bad thing, though.
No, that's a good point. Variety in the map style of play is useful, but from what I've seen from Airfield, it usually just turns into a sort of strike camping fiesta as teams just build up their nuclear arsenal.
I've told you the solution for Airfield, Moff, and nobody agreed with me. Everybody, like Piotr Monster, they all went like, "No, you're crazy." And I'm like, it's a good idea. I think it's a really good idea. It's like, we move the info points to the airfield hangars, the base itself, and then where the current air point is, like for communication tower is, we add an airstrike. And then we add one more airstrike in the south as well, so we have 4 airstrikes. And it's just like mayhem, you know?
Just put strikes in spawn and in K1 and K0 and every corner of the map, and then everyone can have a strike. And I would like to see that just one time a team just collects strikes across their like all 7 people, and then one tank drives around the corner and gets 7 strikes.
It's actually been done, but not on stream, I think. Hit and Run,
well,
though.
I would very much like to see that.
DBR 1 of 5, double E4, need 3 SCS and double bad shot.
Yeah, it looks to be that way. Storm bringing 2268 V4 double bat chat, E5 of themselves, and the RHM. So we've got an EBR versus RHM conventional light tank matchup. So curious to see what Mentos does. He's been very aggressive with his EBR for the opening spots, because obviously the EBR does not have the plane ability. Its ability gives it a buff to the view range.
I have learned, though, that with the RHM off, you can plane if you want to predict an EBR. Like if you play...
Yeah, if you want to specifically counter the EBR in the beginning, which is very useful as well, because once the EBR is actually known about, it becomes less of a threat, because one of the main plus points of it is that it's the element of surprise. And look how deep he is going. He's going into D4. He's going to spot these Batchats, and they won't be reloaded, so they can't actually fight back. He's spotted as he tries to take the bush, however. So Mentos in a little bit of a pickle. Can he manage to back out of there before he gets caught in any kind of trouble? DJ can't really peek into him right now. Mineros maybe can put in some shots in the Batchat, but as it is, Mentos is just sticking around. He's like, why would I need to run? I'm in total control of this situation. Storm pushing down the 8 line as well, providing some crossfire, but there's a big push from Hit and Run as they try to catch out Mineros, their former teammate, who tries to keep peeking into them and returning fire. He needs to just sit safe.
His initial trade, I liked it, you know, gives a shot for free, but then afterwards, Moff, that was a bit greedy, you know? Re-peeking, taking 1.2, and then peeking once more. He's now gonna die without really doing anything. I mean, he's just getting pushed on by the EBR, and by Piotr, he just dies. I don't even know if he did his full clip, and Hit and Run now well and truly ahead. Storm trying to react here, but even DJ, look at his HP, that bad shot getting countered quite heavily as well. 1.2 left on him, and now these 268 V4s, they're trying to do something against these E4s, but E4 is a wonderful tank against 268 V4 because of that high pet.
Yeah, and the strike comes in on the pair of them as well. Mineros died so quickly, Storm didn't even have time to make any kind of reaction here, and now Hit and Run in a very commanding position. The Batchats are pushing forwards into the city. Piotr is going to come behind Yuzek and maybe even just ignore him. He's going to go for other kills, potentially. He does stop to pick up the kill, and Storm, they're trying the best they can, but the initial trade was just so poor, and Hit and Run are running away with it.
I would say that the initial play here from Hit and Run, using that EBR, was absolutely beautiful. I mean, unexpected play, wasn't spotted, and completely counters this 1-2 lane presence. If the Batchat tried to keep going towards C1 Moff, you know what would happen to him.
Yeah, if they tried to make their way into the 1-line positions, they would get shot from the middle, that's for sure. And the best part is, they're not even reloaded in the beginning, so they can't even just over-peek on towards Mentos in the EBR. He's just very, very tricky to deal with in that situation, and
so it's a
this
really
is the
good
kind
shot.
of thing. Yeah, this is the kind of thing that the EBR is good for, right? If you're gonna pick an EBR instead of the RHM, he has to get this early aggression.
This was a really, really good strat from Hit and Run. Everything was perfect for that. If the Batchats on 1-2 keep going, they run into what was the double Batchat in the CS, so he will die either way. No, it's just a really good opening. I don't know what Storm could have done with Storm's opening. I don't know what they could have changed that would have made them win the round. I mean, sure, you could say Mineros should not peek out, but even then, Moff.
He would still get traded, and the win was so convincing. He still did a clip before he died, right?
But it's about
anyway,
how long it would take to kill him, right?
Yeah, but you know, it's Batchat, so we're talking the difference between a couple of seconds, really. But I think the only option they had there is just to run away instantly. But that's really difficult to just make that call on the fly.
I mean,
It's
Mineros
like, okay,
cannot make it away, though, I think.
he was in the back though, and the Batchats aren't reloaded in the beginning of the game, so maybe he could make it up into A4, but it would be kind of
shooting gallery, you know?
kind of 50-50.
You know, all those TDs, they would drive forward and get render on him because Mentos was staying, right? So he would always spot it.
Yeah,
I mean, you could try it,
DJ could at least get to A4, and then they would be able to cover Mineros a little bit better.
I think he was also afraid of getting spotted by DBR on the way up.
Yeah, I still think he could have perhaps got to A4.
Oh, I think he could have done it as well, but yeah, I mean...
It would have been able to minimize the damage at least and give them at least a way back into the game, because even if you lose the opening trades, you always want to just look to minimize the damage as much as possible to allow you to continue to play into the round. But when it plays out like that, we see this a lot, you just lose the opening pick and then it's just kind of over. You can't really... There's not really anything you can do to get back into the game.
But that's exactly what Hit and Run needed to get back in it. This was a really good strategy, probably trained before and realized that it will work against this kind of play style. And for Storm, it was like just a head scratch. It's like, well, that happened. That definitely did happen.
Yeah, I don't think they'll feel too bad about it because there's not much that they can do, as we say, in the initial reaction, unless you have a pre-planned idea of full knowledge of like what's happening in this situation. as it is, it's 1-1. Both teams putting a score on the board. We move on to Miravanka. And yesterday, Hit and Run, they kind of had some PTSD from it, but they ended up winning the game against W. So what I want to pay attention to is, have they learned their lesson with cutting it close with the cap timer?
Do you think they have learned?
Well, they would have worked on something. That's for sure. I don't really know exactly what it is that you can do, because especially the strikes, they are quite effective to counter. So I think it's just about being sharper with those rotations and just making the correct reactions faster.
Strike control is hyper important on Muro to get at least one reset.
It is, but like I said, the team that plays for the cap, if they have an RHM, they can counter the one in Forest quite easily by just shooting with HE and planing it. And the one that's in mid, they can usually just send a V4 in there to stop any kind of push. Lineups are being switched around. I saw a pattern there for a moment,
but
got a little bit excited.
They played it before. Hit and Run actually, Ketsai has played the pattern, I can tell you that.
I do remember that as well. I think that was that in OLC,
No.
OLC 3?
No, it wasn't.
Or was it in this?
I think it was
in this series.
It was Onslaught Legends Series, no?
I don't remember.
I remember him
that,
playing a pattern on Miravanka South. So,
well, we're not going to see it in this game. It's going to be a Sentai X, the classic, the go-to medium tank DPM machine in the Onslaught Legends series. T57 heavy though. We should mention that. That's quite an unorthodox pick on this map, especially with the heat. Like we said, yes, the day before, about 268v4s, they struggle because of all the fences and objects in the middle. T57 heavy, even more so, is going to struggle with that.
yeah, it's one of those more annoying maps. A lot of destructible objects that can eat your shots. But in the beginning, though, double V4 pressured on the 5 line for Hit and Run. One of them taking the strike, the other one pushing straight forward. Storm also here on 1-2 line. Jordan Uzek actually pretty close. And there's one more tank there, bad shot. So far, both these teams both centered towards the 1-3 line. But I think Hit and Run has the better of them by starting this early cap again.
Yep, and Ketsai is just getting spotted in the T57 now. I thought he had the element of surprise. Lackey has taken a lot of damage from somewhere, though. I think he was getting crossfired from the cap circle at the same time as the guys in middle. Cap time is dropping down, and Uzek is forced to peek in, and it's just a really, really bad trade right now, and Hit and Run are going to drive off of this and start trading it out with Ketsai in the T57. It's his time to shine. He sees the Centurion AX of Sir Jacob, and he starts clipping out with his ability and is already on reload. So Jacob down to just 44 HP remaining. They are 5k up in HP. Hit and Run. DJ now pushing back in, trying to go across, create some kind of angles in his E50M, but he's dropped immediately.
There's no angles to be created anymore in this scenario. The initial again from Hit and Run, punishing, getting lucky. In the Bliskovice, super low HP, then forcing Storm to get close because there were no resets available. They weren't able to take the strike on the eastern side. They weren't able to take the strike in the middle. I don't think either team even took those throughout this battle. And the result of this is again Hit and Run in what a fashion. In 1 minute and like 55 seconds will close out round number 1 on Miravanka.
That was a very quick round. That was a very quick round. So if it does...
You were wondering who shot everybody from the cap, I guess, shot the guy crossing the Bliska, because you can't shoot it.
Yeah. Because it was only double V4 in middle, so they wouldn't have been able to inflict that much damage on towards him. But that was a very quick round. And if it does go to tiebreaker, it would almost certainly be Hit and Run who have the pick of the side there, unless Storm somehow come back and do an even faster cap strategy, which I think is pretty unlikely, but we've seen some very fast cap strats here. Lackey, of course, getting caught out in the beginning, 0 damage. Pretty unfortunate for him. He only fired 1 shot and he didn't pen it, so unlucky there. T57 Heavy actually played out quite well. I'm not even sure if it made a tank impact. It doesn't, because the strat was already winning anyway. It didn't even really matter what tank was there, but he did a good job nonetheless.
I mean, you can understand the purpose of the 57 in this kind of strategy, I guess. If there is a fight on 1-2, you have a tank that it has an incredible burst of 1.6 in like 3 seconds with the ability, and has a lot of DPM nonetheless without any other ability impacting it. So if they are forced close, it's like the burst is insane. And preferably you do it on like a squishy medium, like he did. So you can understand in that strat why it's picked. I just think it's a really bad pick outside of that. Like if the cap does get reset to 57, we'll just struggle the whole time.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. Is
it's very one-dimensional.
If Storm do extend the battle, and we go into
yes, then the
a middle game
becomes
and an end round, then the T57's just kind of vibing in the back, like
he cannot push anything.
What do I do?
He cannot really
what do
hit
I do,
anything.
guys?
He has to shoot heat, and the heat is not that fast. The sniping is not that great unless you use the ability. But then if you don't hit anything, you don't have your ability anymore. But for this, it worked perfectly. And it's for Storm, it's, how do you say it? It's been very harsh the way this match went. You win your first round, and in 5 minutes you lose 2 rounds because it really was like
yeah,
5
it's
minutes.
completely swung around in the opposite direction, right? They won the first round. It's like, all right, let's go.
And then
up
5
one
minutes
round,
later,
and then yeah, suddenly you're facing match point already, and they're gonna have to clap back with another round of themselves on Miravanka. But again, the dominant strategy just seemed to be just pushing into the cap and countering those strikes on the other side. And I don't think any team has really provided like a hard counter answer to it. Sometimes they have won because they've got clutch resets.
I think there's going to be teams that start driving something hyper fast towards the strike.
Hyper fast.
CS,
and what do you mean?
For example.
Like a light tank going there
like
early?
a CS,
or?
for example, or even a light. Anything that gets to the strike before it can get punished, just to have it, you know? And then you play around it. You make sure that he gets the strike. I think even a CS would be fast enough to dodge any damage. But anything that dodges the fight, you know? That way you have at least something going for you.
Well, potentially. But lineups are coming in. They're doing the dance again. They're switching around as we try to guess what tanks are going to be locked in. I'm pretty sure Lukin will be bringing the RHM. That's quite a solid pick for a map like Miravanka. 60 TP from Sir Jacob. He's just going to be providing the anchor position. Never mind, he switched off to a Bliskavitsa. Triple Bliskavitsa now. Sente-X, double bat chat. Hit and run are bringing triple IS-7. So I think we have an idea of where they're going to go.
No light either. CS63, Sente-X, double 264. We talked about quick cap plays, Moff. This could be one of them. But this lineup can also go towards the forest.
It can if it wants to, and they are all driving in different directions, so planing is going to be hard in the beginning. Lukin did actually use it. He only spotted 2 tanks, but he spotted a CS going over towards the 1 line, which is going to telegraph that Hit and Run want to play for the 1-2-3. It's the triple IS-7 though. 1-2-3 going to push over towards the cap, but they're doing it from the outside, and at the moment they are unspotted. But Storm are here with a lot of tanks as well.
Storm are kind of ready for this. Triple Bliskavitsa. Piotr is like, no, 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 no. I don't want to go. One of the Bliskas bouncing. Double bad shot starting to pressure Ketsai, who's making it out and running away as well. Now the IS-7s are actually going to push back in towards the Bliskavitsas, but these bad shots, can they do something? Can they find Ketsai? Ketsai still running. V4 coming in as well. They are getting the shots in towards that CS63. They need to kill him. It's an important kill for the side of Storm, but the damage taken is pretty hefty as well. Mineros gets 1 more, but Ketsai still surviving. Gutsek now taking damage from the AX, and Ketsai will survive just slightly longer, and Mineros is the one to pick it up, but that's 2 bad shots on 800 HP as the rest of Hit and Run is now converging on towards these Bliskavitsas, and the HP is looking good for them as well. Can they find the first kill? They can. DJ out. Mentos now playing around with Lucky, and everybody from Stormmoth currently seems to be in a different position, which gives Hit and Run the perfect opportunity to just find one and push it.
Yes, Hit and Run making pushes all across the map. There's individual brawls going on everywhere. Lukin is trying to provide crossfire in his RHM, and the Batchats are trying to find a way to be effective. So Jacob is backing up over the top of the ridge, which is a very good play because he's going to be able to get out of the one line. He can start shooting tanks like Piotr in the back and provide crossfire on towards them. T-Sec as well is not looking the correct direction, so Jacob picks up the kill. So backing up over the ridge line, a very good play. Now he can play hold down against T-Sec as well, who puts in a good shot as he tries to back up around the corner. Hit and run with the HP advantage, but they're down in guns, and Storm have the light tank and the Batchats, which are so much better for the end game. Hit and run going to go aggressive though. They know that they need to try and pick up Jacob, who's getting peeked on from multiple angles. If he goes down super quick, Hit and run need this.
Ooh, Chucky now in a little bit of trouble. Takes a few shots from those Batchats. Drop towards 431. Panzer Fury drop towards the one shot. T-Sec finds the kill on Sir Jacob in the meantime though. But you didn't mention it. This is probably one of the most ideal lineups that Storm has to finish off this game with. Double Batchat and an RHM versus double V4 and i7. All those tanks from Hit and Run are blind.
Yeah, and they're all super low HP, which means they can't even just YOLO into these Batchats. Mineros picks up the kill. They are dropping like flies right now, and now he's going to run away because he sees T-Sec pressuring towards him. He's just going to bait and switch, let his teammates farm while that's happening. Strike comes in as well. He picks up the kill, and you just see how powerful the light tank and Batchat combo is in these late games. It's so difficult for you to do anything about it unless you have an overwhelming HP advantage.
UTech comes in and finishes off Chucky, and that makes Storm go to tiebreaker. For a while there, it was looking rough for Storm. I thought they were losing even, but some good individual plays like Sir Jacob backing off and surviving, definitely helping them. I thought they lost when the double bat was that low HP for killing one CS, but made it work.
Well, the thing is, they can go dark, right? They just get unspotted, and then they're sort of left alone to figure out what they want to do. Monster was patrolling the ridgeline and shooting them in his Sentai X, but I think the key player here was Lukin. Lukin was hard countering.
Lukin did a lot of damage
tanks
as well.
Like Monster, and look at that 5k in a light tank. That's a massive deal, right?
How much of it was strike damage? 1 point something, right?
Possibly, but still, even then, it's like it's 4k damage in a light tank is massive.
That's still like 3.5k regular damage. Yeah, those i7s, you see them struggle a little bit. Of course, they're pretty low DPM.
Yeah, and low penetration compared to other heavy tanks on that gun. It can be a little bit tricky to deal with. Blitzkowitzes and 268s, etc. So that's kind of why we've seen. I think that's the first time we've seen teams try to go with predominantly heavies towards the cap rather than Blitzkowitzes. And that didn't work out particularly well for them. Anyway, it's 2-2. We're going to tiebreaker, and it is Ensk. And I believe Hit and Run have the fastest round win, so they will get to pick the side. Which side would you choose
North.
if you had to play Ensk?
There's no questions asked. I'd pick North, always. It's just the more playable side, I would say. I could be wrong though, but like from Northmouth you have slightly better rails positions, and you have slightly better city access. You have some cross shots. That's what I would pick North, at least.
Yeah. When it comes to Ensk, I think it really is the map I'm the most lost on in terms of what kind of strats I like to run. That's why I normally just pick the Foch B and just torpedo. That usually works out pretty well in random Onslaught games. Get a free pick, take some damage, rotate, clip, clip, clip.
I can tell you though that Hit and Run picked South, so completely going against what I would play. But with the change of the light, I will say that South is closer to North now. Because at least before from North, the light would insta-plane South, you would get a chunk of crossing damage if you tried to cross, and you would be in a disadvantage after that. Now with the light plane being delayed, it's way harder to do the same amount of crossing damage.
Yeah, the light tank ability got nerfed. It's still very popular as a pick, but if teams want to, it's a lot easier to dodge it now, because if you just drive off, you drive off the spawn point in all different directions, it's very difficult for the light to plane more than a couple of people, and he needs to get at least 6 people to get the second plane, which is the ideal scenario for most maps, but radio tower control isn't as important on this map, so getting a second plane isn't as critical.
Now back to the predictions. I'm out of the race, sadly, but you and Kihan are still in.
Yeah, you can never go wrong with a tiebreaker prediction when you think that the teams are pretty closely matched. We saw Storm play Ensk in the previous match day versus Mafia, and that went pretty well for them. Like you said, they did pick a light tank, and they seem to be making the correct rotations and being able to pick off the guns from Mafia slowly but surely. From what we've seen with Hit and Run in the past, though, on this map, they like to go hyper aggressive. I don't know if you remember some of their games against Mafia and Cashback in the OLC 3 and Last Chance qualifier, but they just sent it down the middle multiple times, and it did not work at all.
It did indeed not work at all, but maybe they've refined it by then.
We have evolved our YOLO strategy, and the evolution looks to be Foch B meta. I said it's a tank I like to pick on Ensk and just torpedo, and Hit and Run seems to agree.
Storm seems to agree in some fashion as well, though. Of double E4 and E3, 4 to the U, Bat, 7-5A, and Mouse. A little bit less DD heavy than Hit and Run.
Yeah, I think the Foch is a great tank against the Mouse.
You understand what Foch it is, right? Did you look?
Oh, is that a 1? What?
I think you missed the Foch that it's actually...
I just assumed that it would be Foch Bs, but Foch 155's coming out. Any thoughts on that?
No, I hate that tank.
Hit and Run don't seem to, and they have an idea in mind. What's the heat pen on that?
Same as 268, I think.
So 395, right? Yeah, so super high pen, and it's got the same ability as the Foch B, which is they have a heal, a mobility buff in the first phase of the ability, and any damage they take in that, then they will heal back the rest of it. They got 3 shots of 750 alpha, which is a lot, but with the intro clip it takes a while to unload it normally, but they're sticking as a pack right now. Lackey taking the info tower though, so the jig will be up. They do know that it is triple Foch 155, and they will probably be rubbing their eyes just to check that it is actually Foch 155s.
Ketzai gonna take a shot here on the crossing. No, he actually doesn't take one. Yuzek not ready to react to that. Ketzai now still crossing over. He is going to be surviving that at the very least. A big strike on towards Mentos, Chucky, and Monster, already losing a lot of HP. That Mouse seems like a snack that everybody wants to get right now, but are they overcommitting for just one Mouse? Right now, Moff, it doesn't seem to be that way, as Mentos and Monster need to kill him. It bounces left, right, and center. This Mouse is tanking, and he's doing another bounce. That's 3 Foch 155 shots. Can Monster finish it? Yes, but how many Foch 155s do you need to kill a Mouse?
Yeah, and now they're down 5k HP. Yuzek traded really well, or the rest of his team traded off of him really well in that situation, and now these Foch 155s are all on reload, and they're not stuck in particularly good positions. Mentos just stuck behind a building. Ketzai is keeping 1 shell in the tank there, but there's not really much that he can do with that. Jordan has plenty of health to go around, and I am very much bewildered as to what we have just witnessed in this tiebreaker, but my prediction is going to come true, so perhaps I paid off Hit and Run to pick Foch 155s, or maybe they all picked the wrong tank by mistake, who knows, but Storm will win in tiebreaker and they will move to the top of the leaderboard in the OLS.
I want to be honest with you, Mo, Foch 155 did not convince me whatsoever over the regular Foch B. I understand the alpha increase, but with the amount of shots they bounced, they should have picked one that had more shots.
Yeah,
you're gonna see some.
It's also slower, isn't it?
Yeah, you're gonna
than the regular Foch B.
You're gonna see Yuzek's hits received, and you're gonna laugh. By the way, you're actually gonna laugh.
Yeah, I think it's probably gonna be at least, you'd imagine, at least 2k blocked, right?
No, it's gonna be more like, I don't know about blocked, but hits received, Muff. Minimum 2 E4 shots and 3 Foch 155 shots.
Yeah, he wasted a lot of time for his team. And that's the job of the Mouse, right? Soak up all the damage, just be there for your homies, and let them farm.
Yeah, that was crazy. I mean, we added to the list of tanks played this season, though. You would expect literally Clueless to be doing it, but it was hit and run, and that means that Storm is going to edge themselves ahead and put themselves as currently #1 in the Onslaught Legends Series with, I think, 15 points right now, which leaves hit and run on 12. So they're going to be very, very, very happy with that. Now, damage dealt, Mineros has been performing throughout this battle. It's not the first time that I see him on the top of the leaderboard there.
Yeah, he was a great pickup for Storm. Player transfer over from Hit and Run formerly. He went over to Storm to be able to go to China, probably before he knew that Hit and Run were going to get this last chance to go
What was the mouse blocking?
to China. I didn't see. Perhaps we're going to go back to it, or maybe we've just missed the boat
I think we missed
on
the boat.
that opportunity.
Oh, wait.
Oh, 3.7.
Yeah. So, 5 non-pens Moff. So
Yeah,
3 4
he
shots
blocked.
and 3 4.55 shots.
He blocked an entire tank's worth of HP in addition to
terrible.
having to kill him.
If you pick a tank with that much, you cannot afford to waste that many shots on one mouse Moff. You cannot.
No. Especially when it's a clipper like a Foch
It's like
155
40,
with such a long
40
reload.
something. I think it's around 40-second mark, maybe a bit below it. But
Yeah, I think it's longer than the Foch Bs, isn't it?
I think so.
I could be wrong.
I think so too. But yeah, it wasn't a convincing pick for me.
Yeah, I mean, they can say that they're cultured, and they'll get props for that. And we know that the people in Twitch chat love it when the variety tanks get picked rather than these stinky meta 268v4s and such. But I think they just prove the point as to why the meta is established the way it is.
Sometimes there's reason why people take certain tanks and even certain equipments off, but that is a discussion for after the break. When we come back, we will have 2 more matches. We're at the halfway point. Don't go anywhere. When we come back, Cashback versus Mafia, a banger of a match. But before that, let's head into some replays.
What? What's happened? You.
Let's move out.
Ready to fire.
Kaboom! Let's destroy this lunatic.
He's back.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Onslaught Legends Series Day 6. Always a mental reminder to remember that. We're halfway off, but we still have some bangers coming up. Cashback against Mafia. A pretty interesting match. A rematch of the last chance qualifier finals.
Yes, the first last chance qualifier.
Before the last chance, yes.
Before the last chance qualifier that was played, obviously off stream, we keep referencing it. Mafia unfortunately missed out there on two occasions, but they are a force to be reckoned with. They've had some pretty good results across the board. They have beaten W, they've beaten Clueless, Solyanka. They've had narrow losses against Hit and Run and Storm as well. Predictions here, 63% in favor of Cashback, which is, I'd say, on balance, pretty fair. 37%, still very respectable.
Could be even closer, I would say. But yeah, both these teams want to continue their run. I mean, Cashback took a little bit of time to warm up, I think, in the Onslaught Legends series.
Yeah, I would agree with that, but they've also been unfortunate. We've referenced a couple times the disconnects that they had in their match versus W, where they lost, and they had a close match against Hit and Run as well, where they also lost in tiebreaker. So I don't know that it's so much that they're taking a while to warm up. I think they just it's the way it goes. So, you know, everyone can't win every single match that they play, right? And Cashback, they are not at the top of the leaderboard, but they are looking to improve their standings. Now, the full Ukrainian team, they've got some superstar players in there. Liberty normally maining the RHM, doing a very good job there, and we know how important those RHMs are to victory.
Of course, but Twitch chat will tell you that Barbarian is the #1 player the world has ever seen. Moff.
Yes, and I find that to be very accurate. Mafia, they've got a lot of superstars themselves. Obviously, several players in their team lineup that have been to China before, so they're all very experienced.
You can recognize the
know
ones. They're the ones that are not wearing the black T-shirt.
Really? How could you
I
tell?
know, shit. It's just almost like the design is the same, you know.
Yeah, I love Comrade's haircut though. He looks wicked.
I'm looking who's my favorite player. I haven't found them yet. Actually, it's one day we'll get the statistic face-off. Gotcha Baby versus Liberty, the duel of the star-crossed lovers. Cannot wait.
The master versus the student.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, most playtime for both of those players, DRHM. However, I would say so far, the YOLO might have the better DPG. Liberty has the higher game impact.
Yeah, and normally if the RHM is doing more damage, it's because he's farming to compensate for his team not doing it themselves, right? And the RHM is normally, if he doesn't get caught in the opening, he's normally the last tank left alive who's just chipping away at the enemy team in the end, which could be the correlation between slightly lower win rate and slightly higher average damage. YOLO's also played a little bit more variety in his tank picks, which could also explain why his DPG is a little bit higher.
Between these two, we might get some lifetime battles. I think last time we watched these two plays, YOLO got dominated by Liberty. If I have some memories on Ghost Town between those two. No Ghost Town in this one though. Pilsen removed by Cashback. And Ghost Town taken out by Mafia gives us Ensk as the first map for Cashback. And the second map will be Airfield.
Yeah, Ents being picked by Cashback. They want to challenge Mafia on one of Mafia's preferred map picks. They had a really bad series against Storm previously. Storm really showed them the way on how to play on map like Ensk. Then we're going to have Airfueled, and I'm really curious about how that's going to play out, because in the first couple of play days, one of the teams has taken control of the North Strike and the radio, and then the other team's just kind of been left to wait to lose. So I want to see a really, really strong, aggressive opening from both teams to try and control that part of the map.
All right, let's head into the statistics, Moff. Statistics segment. Are you ready? Are you excited?
I am.
Okay, so Cashback currently has 0 battles on Airfield, Moff. Not a single one of them. And then what was the first map? It was Ensk, right?
Yes.
Now, you'll be intrigued to know that Cashback currently has 0 battles on Ensk as well.
But they have played that in before, and they did like playing it before.
But in Onslaught Legends Series so far, they have not played Airfield, Ensk, and Solyanka.
So they are yet to have revealed what their strats are. Mafia have played it quite a few times, though.
Most played maps from Mafia are Ensk and Airfield.
Yeah. And Cashback are allowing it to happen, so they must feel pretty confident.
Yeah, they must feel pretty confident, but because no joke, Ensk is their most played map, 5 battles and 4 on Airfield, with respectively 60 and 50% win ratio. So it's interesting that we are heading on a map that Cashback has seen no action on in the Onslaught Legends Series whatsoever. But they're going to see some action on it today as they come into round number 1 with a mouse double V4, an E3 and E4, a WZTD, and the Tasak.
Yeah,
it's time. It's time.
The Tasak is being brought out.
It's the second time.
We've been talking about it. Yeah, we saw it on Pilsen before, but it's a far different prospect to bringing it on a map like Ensk. It's going to be interesting to see what he does. If he can get behind those E3s and E4s from Mafia, they're bringing so many of them. If he gets behind them, that HE clip goes kind of hard.
Yeah, but the question here, Moff, is he's playing against 7 TDs. Is this good for Liberty? Can he make that clip work? Can he actually permatrack some TDs, Moff?
Well, he's going to go for the strike super early on. Going to try and get that and get out before YOLO is in any kind of position to do anything about it. YOLO may be able to give him a shot as he tries to leave. Initial shot taken from Marcel as he crosses over towards the city. We're in Liberty's POV as he's looking for who to plane here. He's got a level 3 plane available. He's preparing to plane the sort of J5, K5 sort of area, which is where the TDs normally sit on rails, and it does come in. He spots out Olszek, so info provided for his team there, but there's no shots given because the entire rest of his team is coming up behind him. And they're actually going to push the field here. YOLO has taken some damage in the meantime while we were looking at the plane perspective, and they're actually just going to push over. And there's no one from Mafia here to cover. There's only 3 tanks on this side of the map. They look to have found an opening.
They have found an opening, and that comes off the back of the plane from Liberty. He was checking K5 to see how many TDs would be ready and able to cross over. And what did they see? A singular E4. And that was enough for them. And here he comes, tracking, continuously tracking Conrad still.
Oh my god. It is working like a dream.
Funny. It's actually working. He picks up the kill against the E3. Who is the Juggernaut, says Liberty. I am the Juggernaut. As now, though, Mafia coming back in, but it's all over, Moff. I mean, they're down 6k, they're down 2 guns. They've gotten absolutely schooled on their most played map.
Yeah, this map was over before it started. Liberty POV again showcasing the abilities of the Tasak as it comes in. He's got an HE clip potentially loaded up, and he's just perma-tracking poor Barkers. It's not really meaning anything because he can't go anywhere, but he perma-tracks him nonetheless.
It's so funny.
Just having fun out there.
It's so funny. He's going to do it again to somebody. The question is who. I think Bak was like, I'm not using my ability anymore. I don't want to use my ability. He's just absolutely refusing to use it, then he just dies as well. Liberty is still with a full clip available now. So
pin, 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 pin.
This is an actual pim pam, as Alex would say. That's so funny. We were speculating though, could the Tasak find very limited use into this kind of gameplay where he just permatracks somebody and makes sure that they don't get to shoot anymore at all?
Yeah, and he's been preparing for it as well. He's still, like, even in this week, he's been playing a lot of Tassac. I've played against him myself in it as well. It's quite the nuisance when you're in the RHM and he's got an HE clip loaded up and ready to go. But that is victory in round number 1 for Cashback, and you can kind of understand why they didn't want to play the map until now, because they have leaked their strat. It is the Tassac who wins the map.
So funny. Actually funny. I was crying a little bit during that. Yeah, but really good play there from Cashback. So initially he did spot everybody crossing, and then the second plane, you were like, oh, he's trying to spot but no damage. But the info it gave is so important, because when you see that there's only one TD at K5, there's not enough time to get back to the field. You have to have like 3 tanks ready there to cross over to even remotely hold the field.
Yeah, and the Wheezy TD being that tank in field, it's not like, it's got armor, but it's not like the most difficult to pen. Want to calculate that pen rate again? 2k damage,
around,
2 kills.
I don't know, something around 70%, I guess.
Yeah, huge shots coming out there from Liberty. He didn't really need to do any damage, even the game was already won. Look at the assistance though, it's 4.6k tracking assist.
68 apparently, so my calculator says. Pen ratio, which is pretty good. Yeah, and you know who was one of the
Poor
people
Conrad,
that
though.
would track Conrad?
Yeah.
Hey, but 4k
He
assists,
did not
man.
have a fun time.
600 of it was spotting in the beginning of the round, or like 700, because I saw somebody take a shot. That was Marcel. So the rest is all tracking.
Yeah. I mean, we saw what it's capable of. I'd argue that it wasn't even necessary in the round. Like, the game was already over, even just based off of the info. He didn't actually have to do a whole lot in the Tassac after that point, but it was a nice, it gave us a nice little chuckle, that's for sure.
Yeah, no, it was very funny. I hope he does it again. Oh.
Yeah, but I mean, why not bring it on round 2?
I mean,
it worked in round
did
1.
speculate about it. Here it worked, but to be honest, they were going to win the game with or without the Tassac. Like in RHM would have also won the game there.
But that would have been nowhere near as cool.
I know, but I'm just saying that I don't think they won because of the Tassac. I don't think that the Tassac was really the difference maker. I think the RHM would have done the same thing. I mean, it wouldn't have looked so funny.
Yeah, but it's about winning in style. I mean, if Hit and Run had won with Triple Fosh 155, think about how cool that would have looked if they'd been able to make it work. Maybe they should have brought it to Sack to flank the mouse, and maybe he could have done a bit more damage there. Anyway, as it is, Ensk round 1 goes the way of Cashback, and they have the benefit, of course, because they haven't played the map already. Mafia's strats, they've been kind of leaked for a while, right? So Cashback, you'd imagine, have been preparing an idea or thought process of how we want to counter this.
Well, strats is not the only thing leaking from Mafia, as Liberty put quite a few holes into the side of Conrad and a few others. I really want him to see him pick it again. It does really... I really wonder if this has like potency, like truly, against 70Ds, because, you know, 70Ds, they all have Juggernaut ability.
Yeah. I mean, it could... we could be seeing a fundamental shift
And then
in the
people start
meta
using
right here
double
and right
repair
now.
kit, but it doesn't help you, though.
No, I mean, he has a whole magazine of little machine gun shells, so it doesn't matter. Like, who cares if you have double repair kit if you have 20 million shells
You know
in
what
your
would
magazine?
be funny, though? That they changed the ability, like the TD ability, because of tanks like the Sack, right? Because the old ability wouldn't work.
Yeah, they changed it because of that, and then it still ends up being a problem.
Imagine
with countering.
if this is the counter against that ability still. So you created the solution, and it wasn't really a solution.
Yeah, it was a different kind of problem, but I dare say it would have been more of an issue if the tank destroyers were constantly getting reload after reload every single shot that they took from the Tassac, of course, with the old ability that those tank destroyers had. Different lineups being brought out this time, still bringing the Wheezy TD, both teams actually bringing the Wheezy TD again. 22268v4, double E3, E4 from the side of Mafia, so they're not moving away, they're not afraid. They're still bringing their Juggernaut TDs. Is that identical? It's almost identical lineups.
It is almost identical. There's just a difference between 1E3 for 1v4, no? Yeah, 1v3 for 1v4. Everything else is exactly the same. So just a slightly more aggressive lineup, you could say, from Cashback, right? Because 4v4s versus 3.
There's a little bit more YOLO potential. Mafia moving across to the city early on, playing for Rails control. Tank going to A0, that's the Wheezy TD, that's a pretty standard opening that we would say. Cashback is split all across the map. They've got field presence, they've got an E4 in mid, that's little, and then they're moving towards the city with some guns as well. But Profuse and Barkis both committing into the cap early on is quite a commitment.
Quite initial cap play and a big shot against Barbarian as well without ability. 763 taken there on towards that VZTD. Can he retaliate for this? He can actually. Good shot against Barkis. 697 in return. Info and strike being taken for the side of Cashback. Info for the side of Mafia, who in the beginning again have received slightly more damage, I think, by one shot. They are going to have to do something though, because cap is not going to work.
Yeah, and they are making a move. Profuse leaving the cap and crossing the open, takes one from Little, probably going to take another one from Barbarian if he wants to cross that street. And sometimes this is the difficulty with playing on maps like Ents. There's always another tank destroyer pre-aimed on a corner, but they're going to target Little, who activates his Juggernaut ability, going to do significantly less damage. The strike is coming in as well. That's going to hit almost 3 people. Profuse just about manages to avoid it. They're down in HP though, and they're in a crossfire. The Mafia gun Squeezy is there in the side, and Little is down to below half health, but he is still alive and kicking and able to return fire.
Yeah, Little even picks up Barkis, and this play from Mafia, this aggressive play, not working off. They tried to do it because Cashback had those 2 tanks on the eastern side, the 7-0 line, but they were back in time to save Little, and now you can see the result of this though. Barkis dead. Orchek to follow. The HP is within manageable territory for Cashback and Mafia, but once Orchek falls, it's another gun down, then Profuse is the next one, and it's really domino day over here for Mafia as they are getting absolutely pounded by Cashback, who, again, up until today, did not play this map in the Onslaught Legends Series, but are going to walk away on it with a 100% win ratio over 2 battles, really showing Mafia that, we may not have played it yet, but we were definitely prepared to do so.
Yeah, Cashback, dominant early display here. Already going to be putting themselves onto match point. The nature of these best of 5s going by so quickly. YOLO cannot escape. He may be able to get a pen on the E3. It's going to be difficult though with 395 heat pen. He bounces the shot, so it's going to be all 7 guns and a ram kill just for a little bit of BM at the end from Cashback. All of them staying alive. And sometimes I feel like with Ensk that the team that pushes aggressively or tries to go aggressive first is often the team that loses, because all of the guns are always aiming on those crossfire angles, and the initial damage that the Mafia tanks took was just so great.
Yeah, initially Cashback getting them more damage out, and Mafia realized they were on a timer though. Like, they were on a timer on the cap because the strike was being taken. They were going to start taking damage over time, and they tried to find Little, but they were so way too split for that. You need almost everybody on one target to be able to kill a TD with Juggernaut, and then Cashback just came back in and said, hello, how are you doing?
Yeah, it was kind of a half-assed effort to try and get the kill on towards Little, and you do kind of wonder what their plan was there, because they didn't have any kind of plan to counter the strike in the field, right? And that's always going to get taken by the opposition if you go for these kind of cap plays. So you kind of wonder what the initial idea was there. Perhaps it just looks bad because they got hard countered from the side of Cashback, but we will never know.
That's ends done and dusted. Airfield now coming out, and Mafia needs some miracle performance to bring it back here, because so far Cashback seems very, very well prepared for this matchup.
Yeah, and I alluded to it earlier. I think we might see something like potentially super wild here on Airfield to counter the beginning trades as teams try to take control of the radio in the north and the strike in the north, because it's just so fundamentally important. It's so valuable as a win condition for the map. I think maybe we would see some bat chats, Gorillas potentially as well, even RHMs to get early info on what's happening.
Well, really good stuff from Cashback. It was pretty impressive the way they played Ensk. Very quick, not slowing down, having all the right answers. Round 1 they were hyper aggressive, very well prepared again. That's exactly what you want to see from a team that hasn't played it yet, and that's exactly what you want to see from Cashback. And it does feel like the longer that this Onslaught Legends series is going, which is, I guess, is a bad thing for everybody else, is that they seem to be getting better and better along the way.
Yeah, and there's still quite a distance to go, right? Because we're still only in Phase 1. We're still only in the best of fives, and usually the longer a series goes on for, the more telling it is as to how good a team actually can be, right? If you have these very short series, it's quite easy for a team that's potentially worse to just get 2 or 3 quick rounds on the board, and suddenly it's over, and there's not really much you can do about that. But the longer a series is usually telling.
Can Mafia bring it back on air film off?
There's potential, of course. If there wasn't potential, we wouldn't be playing the round. But again, it's another map that they've played a lot, right? Like you said, and Cashback haven't played it once, so Mafia are kind of going in blind as to what Cashback like to bring, what their tendencies are on the map, because they're not established in this current iteration of the game. They don't know what to expect, whereas Cashback have that foreknowledge and some ideas of what Mafia want to get up to.
Yeah, it's been a while since they played it, so you can't really tell anymore. The question here, Mov, is how many B-line pressure did we get? Because so far, the last few times we've watched it, it was one team pressuring B-line and the other kind of ignoring it.
Yeah, and that usually went the way of the team that had control of the strikes. They just sat there and farmed them. Kono is currently still in an EBR, and he's not switching away from it, so I think he's going to lock that in, and he's going to potentially go for the radio very early on in the game, because obviously the EBR, with going over 90 kph, he should be able to get there without any punishment. But the double bat chat from the side of Cashback, you'd have to imagine they're going to just go straight into him.
Double bat chat is usually picked for a reason, but they don't necessarily both have to go B-line though.
No, that's true. Like, it's just a common strategy to send double bat in there to make sure that you secure that part of the map. They are splitting in the bat chats, so they're not both going over towards the radio. It's Liberty who's going to go over towards the A4 rock by himself. Is he going to commit all the way though? Because there is going to be some guns from the side of Mafia aiming. Is he going to stop at the second one? Kono gets there and starts taking the radio as well. So early info, early trade's going to be slightly in favor of Mafia. Liberty's just going to have to sit tight and wait for a timing to be able to push on towards Kono. But early info for Mafia.
Kono might actually just try and trade off the HP though. He could if he wants to. EBR, kind of annoying to hit there, Moff.
It is, because obviously Liberty can only do one shot at a time, so if he trades 1 for 1, it's actually not that bad. And they have controlled the strike as well, but Cashback don't want to let them have it. They are going to push straight back into this. The Mino Tower is going to come in from the top, but is taking so much initial damage, already down to 700 HP. They will kill Profuse for this, though. There needs to be a reaction from Mafia.
Mafia needs to come back in, and Marcel is doing exactly that. He will pick up Iset, as Profuse is still alive at this moment in time, and the HP lead pretty significant right now for the side of Mafia, but that could swing rather quickly. Kono still trading it off with Liberty, who is down towards a low HP though, 671, and if he falls, Moff, with the HP that Mafia has, they will have all the positions to close down this game, and there's no way that Liberty survives there either. And Mafia in round number 1 looking like a different team than what we saw in Ensk.
Yeah, it's a very dominant display so far. The batch out of Comrade flanking behind the Mino Tower. The repush comes in here. Little is got only a little bit of HP left remaining. The ram kill comes in from Barkiz, and this round is going in the favor of Mafia. They bring it back. They were on match point. They were down to match point. They had to win this round, and they did. The EBR looked to be really good, though. Looked to be a very good counter to that bat chat brought by Liberty.
Yeah, and Konos even was full HP until that ram there from Aka. And it's going to be Mafia, convincing fashion, to pick up round number 1. That's exactly what they needed, bringing them back in this match. One more, and they're back on track for potential 3 points. And that's the beauty of this tiebreaker system, and also the downside of it, that you can still get the full haul if you are able to turn it around.
Yeah, it was a convincing round win and the EBR, it just looked super good. And I thought initially it's like, oh, it's just going to get countered by the Batchat, but the Batchat can't cross towards him, and he can just peek whenever he's on reload and trade 1-for-1. The HP wasn't even that different between the two of them. I'd love to see what Kono's equipment was for EBR on that map. He might have even brought HP boost, perhaps.
I actually don't know what's the HP of EBR in Onslaught.
Well, it's plus 650 from base, and EBR base HP is 1300. So it'd be 1950. So he probably, he would have HP boost, wouldn't he? Because he had 2.2. 2.2k.
I mean, for Cashback, I agree that they had to do something. It sadly didn't work out for them, but it's better like this than to just sit there and slowly just die.
Yeah, of course. If you lose like this though, Mafia, they potentially have the fastest round win. So if it does go to tiebreaker, they'll get to pick the map side. But that's obviously a very minor detail in the grand scheme of things. But like I said before we went into the map, it's just so important to win that part of the map, and I would have loved to have seen Cashback fight for it a bit more aggressively, right? And that's why I thought the double Batchat would go into the north, and if they did send them in the B line, they would probably be able to just push into Kono and trade him off.
Yeah, double Batchat would definitely have killed Kono and would have been great. But like I said, they don't have to go for it though, and that's the downside there. If they did go for it though, Moff, they would have deleted that EBR instantly and probably won the game off of that as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's hindsight Harold, right? They don't know that there's an EBR from Mafia. They don't know that they're going to just go and be able to take the radio. They probably, I don't think Kono was even spotted until once he peaked. So they didn't even know that he was there until that moment. But it's just the way the airfield plays out right now is that if you don't control the north, if you don't control that north strike,
is very important.
It's just so fundamental as a win condition. Compared to the rest of the map, it's not really used that much. So we'll see what Cashback are going to do to try and sort out this problem.
I mean, maybe this time they'll send 2 Batchats, Moff. Straight.
Maybe.
Better to have it to be 2 than not at all.
That would be the very simple tweak that they can make to their lineup, assuming they bring the same setup from the other side. There's also the possibility of bringing tanks like a Grilla to aim on the cross in the beginning, or even a TVP to do early damage, but the problem with a TVP is you do that early clip and then your tank is kind of useless for the rest of the battle.
Do you believe in Mafia to turn it around?
I don't know. That's a very non-committal answer.
It's a yes/no kind of question.
It would be good for me if they do win this round, because I needed to go to tiebreaker and Cashback to win in tiebreaker. So, Mafia, they will win this round.
I think you're crazy, but we'll see. 60p, Batchat, Bliska, Mino, E4, EBR for Cashback actually.
Yep, so they've flipped the script a bit. They're now picking the EBR. I saw it work out well, and they've decided to bring it themselves. Double Minotauro from the side of Mafia is a curious choice, though. Minotauro kind of fell out of fashion a little bit because it doesn't get the sort of machine gun burst fire with the old ability that those tank destroyers have, but it's still a pretty good tank, and obviously when it gets hull down, it's almost impossible to deal with. Kono is going to go to the north in his Batchat. Liberty is doing the exact same thing that Kono did in the previous round. Kono a bit more cautious this time though, will not commit. He's thinking about it, but he decides to not go for it. He gets a shot received from Liberty, who takes the info tower, and it's this time Cashback who have the early info.
Liberty and Kono just trading one off, and now though it will be the similar story to round number 1, Moff. Cap, strike, will be taken by Cashback. I mean, I said exactly the same way as his teammate, as the Mafia 60p player actually in the last round, taking a shot on the way there, but outside of that, now Mafia has to do something.
Yeah, but Mafia have a different idea here. They're going to pincer the cap. So their idea is that anyone that comes on to reset, they're going to be able to peek them instantly and try and delete those tanks. The strike will come in ICE has collected that, so they will be able to delay the cap for a little bit of time, but this is Mafia's idea, and they don't have anyone in the back from the side of Cashback to punish.
Conrad and Hellmine just trading it off right now. Hellmine tries to make a shot but doesn't connect. They do indeed have the strike, and they may be needing to use it as well. And the thing that they don't have, what some teams do have, Moff, is for example that Griller, right? To counter this kind of play that Marcel is doing right now. And if they want to hold the cap, I mean, I'm almost certain that Mafia will be going for some sort of a aggressive counterplay.
Yep, and here they come, the Cashback guns. They're all moving in as a pack, and there's a big strike. It's going to hit 3 people in the end, and Hellmine taking so much initial damage here. This is exactly what Mafia wanted. All the trades going in their favor. Marcel takes quite a chunk himself, but that's exactly what Mafia want. They want the mouse to take that damage. The Batchat is clipping behind on towards Comrade, though, so he's going to try and peek forward and not avoid that, but he's peeking into 5 more guns. They're both just trying to push into each other here as they look for positive trades. YOLO flanking from behind in the Minotaur. The Batchat of Kono is going to come into the fight as well, and now the EBR from Liberty just must feel a little bit useless here.
Yeah, the EBR right now not really an impacting factor whatsoever, and Cashback on airfield seem to not have done the preparation they needed compared to Ensk. I mean, it's getting close to 1000 HP between the two. Can they find Marcel now without losing too much? Little and Iset will have to do it. Iset dropped towards the one shot in return for that little bouncing the shot, fluffing it even, you want to call it that way. That is going to give Marcel an opportunity to potentially kill Iset, but no, Kono is actually going to be the one to come in with the Batchat to do so. With that Batchat 25T surviving the whole round, gets one in return from Iset though, but still though, Moff. 5 versus 3, Little trying to back off. They need to kill Profuse. They did kill Profuse, but still, it's not looking like something that Cashback could bring back.
No, just 2 tanks left, and Little is going to fall shortly. And a very good round from Mafia. They showed that it is possible to play the North without actually having control of the strike and the radio initially. And the EBR, the way they played, they kind of made him redundant.
Yeah, but they have to block the cap though.
Yeah, and that's exactly what Mafia were counting on. And because they did it so quickly as well, they didn't dawdle, they didn't like wait around for just some kind of info to come in. They had their strategy and they went straight for it. They pushed the Minotaurs into the cap, and Cashback didn't really have time to organize any kind of strategy of how to counter it. Liberty had no time to play. No time to play and try and make any kind of flanking maneuvers. He picks up a kill just to be a little bit more annoying, but with 18 seconds left on the cap, he's going to have to do some incredible armor angling, which does not happen.
My Goat does not lose that. YOLO has to be cheating. Yeah, no, tiebreaker. After all, as good as Cashback looked on Ensk, as in return, good Mafia look on airfield.
Yeah, I mean, just complete reversal, really. Airfield looked really good for Mafia, and now I cannot remember what the tiebreaker map is going to be. That escapes my memory, but I believe the Mafia will have the fastest round win.
What the tiebreaker map is?
It's not going to be Pilsen because Cashback banned that out. It cannot be Ensk because we played that already. It cannot be Airfield because they played that already.
Great deduction so far, Moff. Absolutely
I'm gonna
incredible.
go with Westfield.
I actually don't have a clue, but I can look it up for you if you want me to. Would you want me to?
It's Solyanka.
Is it Solyanka?
Yes.
Who would you favor? I mean, I know who your prediction favors, but after having watched all of this, I'm actually myself not sure anymore. But
I think I would still go with Cashback with my initial prediction. Just about. I think they're just going to edge it out.
I'm inclined to agree with you, but I don't know. I expected a little bit more from their airfield. You know, it was a bit disappointing.
Yeah, it was kind of flat, wasn't it? It just, the initial openings didn't go their way, and there wasn't really too much of a plan of how to react to it. But you know, rather than slating Cashback for not playing
Mafia
well on airfield,
really well.
you should just praise Mafia for doing a good job, right? It was a
They knew exactly how to play against the EBR as well. I mean, they were like, okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a really good sign, right? That they did the strategy themselves, but they also prepared. Okay, how can we
What do
play
we do
against
if
this strategy if someone uses it against us?
And Cashback did not seem prepared for that. It is indeed pretty hard to reset, though. I mean, you have the initial strike, right? But then afterwards, you're still forced to reset.
Yeah, there's no way to avoid going back in there. I mean, I do agree. If they had a Griller in the back, the tanks from Mafia would get
That's why
punished
some teams use a
pretty
Griller,
heavily.
no? Like, I feel like that's why some teams use that Griller, because he just blasts them to the past. It's really annoying to deal with.
Yeah, it would also counter Kono in the bat chat when he pushed on towards Liberty later on in the game. And he would counter YOLO, one of the Minotauros who flanked around from the other side. So he has shots on. You would have shots on everything in that situation.
Yeah, I'm quite a Griller fan actually on that map.
I'm not a fan of playing against it. It is.
Are you a fan of?
It's very, very annoying.
You're lucky. I usually play the FV instead of the Griller, but maybe I'll switch.
Well, both tanks are particularly frustrating to deal with in the Onslaught random queue. Usually what ends up happening is they do 6k damage and then they still somehow lose.
True.
But predictions here, we're all still on. All predicting tiebreaker. Could go either way.
Safe bets, right? Tiebreakers.
Yep. I mean, that's the way you do the predictions, right? You either predict tiebreaker if you think the teams are somewhat evenly matched, and if it's not a close, or you don't think it's going to be a close match, you give the worst team the 1 round credit so that you don't look too harsh.
I didn't even remember that I voted for Mafia. So
Interesting tank.
Which one? The Udas?
No. Look at the bottom. Oh, never mind. He switched. Oh,
Moff,
the
you have
classic
to wait
Onslaught.
at least
yeah,
10 seconds.
We need to wait until 5 seconds before.
Because they're trolling a little bit.
Because they're switching. Yeah.
Udas, double Blitzka, 4 to 6v4s for Cashback.
Mafia are bringing triple 268 before themselves. Double CS and a batch at a Centurion AX. So actually, considering that it is Solyanka, a pretty light lineup. But neither team are bringing the light tank.
Which is weird.
It is weird.
I mean,
on such an open map.
There's definitely going to be some factory fights in the beginning.
Yeah, that's for sure. Double CS, Barkis and Kono, they look like they're going to torpedo straight into that middle strike, and if there's any resistance from Cashback, they'll probably run all the way to the south. We've got the Udes and the Sente X who are both going to go to the north and have a private 1v1 over there. Kono taking quite a bit of damage early on. That's not what they would have liked. I think he might have... Was he maybe hesitating a little bit, or was he just a little bit behind? But the double CS is very vulnerable here. They're going to get torpedoed straight back in, and this could be not safe for television as Liberty, Barbarian, and Little, they all push in.
Oof.
And Kono gets deleted immediately. They will trade it off by picking up the kill on Ice. Barkis has done a good job here of trying to get out of the dip and provide crossfire, but Little's there to block him off, and he's going to go down as well.
That CS63 combination from Mafia getting deleted. Not the tank you want in that position. Like, sure, they traded off Ice for that, Moff, but in return, look at that. And the north, you see Twilight in the Udas somehow destroy Orchek in the Sente X, and Cashback smells blood in the water at this point. I mean, Mafia, they're interesting, but their lineup ended up being a little bit too light, in my opinion, to fight against this, especially when you lose a double CS that early, that quickly. You have then the bad shot as well that's not contributing, and Cashback is just rolling up and over because they have that lineup that doesn't need to stop, that doesn't need to reload, and it's not squishy whatsoever. They find Profuse, and it leaves Conrad and Marcel as the last two standing in Cashback. They extend the series a little bit with their lackluster airfielder. Mafia was definitely the better team, but at the end of the day, they will still walk away with 3 points in this match as they are closing out the final 2 kills. Conrad and Marcel, both a 1-shot. It's going to be Mafia on 3. Mafia on 3, Mafia on 2, Cashback on 3 for them to pick it up. Bits, they would have probably liked to do it on airfield, but still works.
A win is a win, and that's all that matters. 3 points on the board. They moved themselves up the table a little bit, and that was quite the violation, I would have to say. The double CS pushing into the strike early on, and they don't have info either, so they don't know what's coming. They cannot really prepare for it, and this is something that you see quite a lot in random Onslaught, is one guy or two guys just YOLOing into the strike very early on, and then the team isn't really ready to support them.
No, I didn't like the double CS. And even they were shielding to try and take a strike. I think that's another mistake, no? Like,
no, it's like the value of taking the strike versus it's not that important, guys. You know, it's
like
pretty useful,
damage.
but it's not.
Like, let's say it's 800 damage on average for these teams because you'll hit 2 tanks, right?
Yeah, but it's not worth sacrificing 2 full tanks for. Comrade did a good job, penning all 11 shots, but he just padded the stats a little bit when the game was basically already over. Twilight won the 1v1 in the center versus the Sentai-X in the north, and I think that's probably because Orshek was distracted with trying to focus on towards middle, so the Udes was able to just sort of creep up on him and get the initial shot in there. But that is that. That's match 3 of the day done and dusted. Cashback take the win, and it's just Solyanka versus Conquest to go.
We're perfectly on schedule almost today. It's crazy. We ended the first match at like 44, and then we ended at around 1930, and now it's 2016, and yeah, perfect schedule. Last match of the day, indeed, Moff. Can Solyanka continue on their hot streak is a good question. Before we head out to replays, I want to ask you quickly, do you think that Conquest could beat Solyanka?
Could, yes. Do I actually believe, though? No.
Okay. So
I think...
you think that?
I think that Solyanka will win, and it may, Conquest may get 1 or 2 rounds, but by and large, Solyanka, giving them the credit now, they've done a good job. They've done a good job, and they have been underestimated as a team, so I believe in them now.
Well, can Conquest defeat Solyanka? Moff doesn't think so. I don't know what you guys think, but we will find out when we come back from the replay. Solyanka versus Conquest. We will be just back.
drama unfolding on Westfield. It's lucky probably we're loading HP at this point. He doesn't have any boots remaining, but he gets the shot. And now the Clueless guys are showing.
You can dispraise me and you can condemn me for everything that brings me spark in my life. I was ashamed of my morals and principles, tried to achieve my own goals, choose my path.
We are not monsters. We are different believers we play. We are not monsters. We are the best in the game.
Well, Morph, let's head into the last match of the day for the Onslaught Legends Series. It's going to be Solyanka versus Conquest. I asked you before if you believe Conquest could win, and you decided to say no. That's not a storyline to build on, so let's change our answer to yes. And let's just build on the underdog storyline and why Conquest is going to dominate.
Well, they did pick up their first win last week. Obviously, it was against Clueless, and that was the battle between the two teams at the bottom of the leaderboard. So that was a good round for them. That was a good match for them to win. Very important. Solyanka, you know, it is possible. Of course it's possible. They're playing in the match. But I have renewed faith in them after their strong start in the OLS so far. They've lost their last two games, but I think they played pretty well in both of them. They lost against Mafia and they lost against Cashback, but I think that, you know, I think they are a cut above. I'm prepared to be proven wrong again, as is with the OLS. A lot of teams are providing upsets and taking round wins when we don't expect them to. Conquest,
Kind of like Clueless, you know, still a young team, have a lot of margin to grow. For them, picking up another win would be amazing, though, Moff.
It would be, and it would give them a chance to qualify into Phase 2. Predictions are very heavily in favor of Solyanka, though. 86% versus 14 over there. Conquest, I believe they've had some good ideas on some maps. They've come up with some good strategies, but the problem is the execution.
Yeah, but that is something that should normally improve over time, I would say, Moff.
Yeah, I mean, especially, I remember watching their match in day one where they had this batch at flanking with Danny, and it was a good play. He had low noise exhaust, he managed to cross unspotted, but it just didn't work out because the team wasn't really coordinated together with it. Interesting thing to note about these map pick and bans is that these are really low win rate maps for Conquest, despite the fact that they've played them a lot. They've played Airfield a whole bunch, and they have been pretty bad in most of the games that they've played on it, but they've had very good opportunities to win rounds. They threw a game against Hit and Run that was very much there for the taking. They also had another game against Hit and Run, the other game they played again on Airfield, where they just got strike camped for 10 minutes and they just slowly lost HP and there was nothing they could do about it.
Maps, though. Airfield and El Haluf, Moff. These are two, I would say, the two far opposite sides of the spectrum, where Airfield can be really slow and El Haluf is usually hyper fast.
Usually. However, we have seen El Haluf be very, very slow paced as well, because the teams, they take the initial positions in the north and they don't really want to push into each other, so they just keep collecting those strikes. Airfield going to be up first, though. We've already stressed the importance of taking the radio and the strike in the north of the map. All three of us going with Solyanka, which is not really surprising given the form that both of these teams have been in the OLS so far. But can we see something super unorthodox here on Airfield?
No.
No.
I don't know what you wanted me to say to that question, Moff. It was just...
They're going to bring 3 Batchats and push the radio and win. Double T57 heavy... Wait. I'm waiting for a second. Double T57 heavy looks to be brought by Conquest. Double Batchat as well. So a lot of clippers for their team.
Solyanka, though, has as well double bat shot, so it might be double bat against double bat on the B line, Moff.
Yeah, and that would be quite something. The ultimate 2v2 there. Of course, the TDs from like the E4 and such, they have the Juggernaut ability, so they're going to be able to activate it at the start, get a mobility buff, and try and put a shot in the cross at the start of the game. Of course, it's possible that neither of them are going to go for the radio at all, and they'll try and do something around the south of the map. But Viksha and Vladislav definitely are driving towards that radio.
Oh, they for sure are driving towards that radio. However, Conquest in return not using their double bat shot for that dome off. They are using it for more of a control, keeping one in the D2 position, one in towards the middle.
Yeah, a slow play from Solyanka though. They're actually not going to push for it immediately, and the double T57 heavy are going to go presumably straight into the cap, and this is kind of a similar idea to what we saw from Mafia, where they want to crossfire the cap, start it immediately, and then force them to come back in and double T57 heavy to absolutely slap.
The strike, it's kind of the same story as for Cashback, you know, where Cashback was forced to get a reset even though they had the strike available. Kind of the same thing here. I mean, you can see the BZ pushing past, but with the Bachelor at D2, Shelby's not going to be able to do too much. Vladislav will take the info. Might even find a shot against Flawless. He misses that one. So they will be able to get a double reset on the sides of YOLO and the Nashka. But after that, they're still going to be forced to block it, Moff, no matter what.
Yep, double strike comes in, which is going to delay for a little bit of time. But the key tanks to focus on here are Danashka and YOLO. It's so important that when this cap block does come in, it's so important that they pen all their shots.
I mean, Trash Panda's doing a good job of sitting very far away, so they're peeking into the breast immediately. Some non-connections. Now they're peeking in towards the mouse. Better stuff there from Danashka and YOLO. Still some shells available. Gotta be careful not to lose too much HP because the press is coming off of reload. And that was some pretty good positioning from the Solyanka players there, Moff.
Yeah, that's looked to be a pretty good reaction. I'd say they came off better. Danashka's down to just 1400 health, and the Solyanka tanks have traded the HP across the board. Lally takes a bit of damage as he tries to push up to reinforce, but Solyanka are not sticking around to wait. They're peeking behind. They're pushing behind the mouse from the side of Conquest. The batch out of Vladislav is coming in as well. Is he going to be able to boost up there? He just about makes it up, and the push is coming in. They're not stopping here at all. They're going for Radim. It's just Flawless in the E4 who's providing crossfire right now. YOLO now over-peaking in his T57 heavy, does a clip, but is down to 500 HP. Vladislav takes a lot of damage as well. Katsank picks up the kill on YOLO, and Lemmy Sandros is coming back in his batchat. He's going to pick up the kill on Vladislav.
He will find the kill on Vladislav, but they have to continue there. They are losing their tanks in the middle. Is Lemmy blocked in the batchat?
He's fine, he's fine.
He's fine. He does manage to get past. He's even going to be on reload. Now Dreamer, the next isolated target there. Danashka with that 57. I think that's his third clip in this battle. He does go down at synchronization together with his teammate in that area, but Victor there in the bad shot falling as well, and Conquest has a real opportunity here to pick up round number 1. Flawless, Radim and Lemmy pounding on towards Dreamer now in that 60p. He has nothing going for him anymore. Lemmy bouncing the shot though, but Radim with the ram kill. I mean, that's one way to secure it. Leaves just 3 tanks left standing for Solyanka, who have gotten surprised by Conquest. And it's kind of same as Mafia. That cap pressure seems to be too much to handle for a lot of these teams.
Yeah, it was a very similar strategy. I'd say Solyanka actually reacted to it much better than Cashback did. You saw the way the mouse positioned, you commented on it. He was sitting on the opposite side of the cap, which meant the T57 heavies had to overpeak so much more, but even then, apparently it's not enough to overcome the damage.
I think the biggest mistake there from Solyanka is that push behind instead of repushing the 57s from behind, for example.
Yeah.
Because that push forward, I mean, one of the bad shots you saw him explode, I think, and then Lemmy killed him. The second one not doing much better. I think that was the biggest issue for them, no?
Yeah, and the tank that they peeked into was Radim in the mouse, right? Which is perfect for Conquest. Like, who cares if your mouse goes down? If you're trading for it evenly anyway, it doesn't really matter. And to be honest, Solyanka, they could have slowed it down a bit at that point. They still had control of the strike, and Conquest traded badly, but perhaps they felt pressured by the clock because the cap was always going to keep going.
I am inclined to agree that they overreacted a little bit. They did really good trading initially against the 57, so they weren't able to focus the target. They took a lot of damage in return. That was good, but then this push again from behind, enabling everybody from Conquest, I mean the remaining group of Conquest players, was all able to re-push back into that group, into Shelby, into Victor, into I think Vladislav as well. They took all the tanks and they just re-pushed back into them and just were able to kill them. And they didn't need to anymore at that point. As long as their mouse is decently healthy, they can block the cap.
Yeah, and because they've got single shooters, the double T57 still got to reload and come back for some more, and you'd think you could just rinse and repeat if you're Solyanka. You
For
think
sure.
you could just,
While
you
at
can
the
just
same
block
time,
the cap again.
You could take middle. And I think taking middle, because you know from the runes area where you want to put the strike, you can also shoot that 57 from behind. One thing there ruins everything for Conquest.
Yeah, and the T57s can't go anywhere, because if they go forwards, then they die, and if they try to run away, then they're just baiting the rest of their team, right? So it's interesting to see some slight evolution in how these teams want to play, even from game to game, because that was almost a carbon copy of what we saw in the Mafia versus Cashback game.
Except it was even quicker to get onto the cap.
Yeah, they just went straight onto it, right? They didn't wait around at all. It was just straight there from the opening. And that probably helped as well, because I think the double T57 got into the cap unspotted before Batchat was even on the balcony.
Yeah, they did manage to get there unspotted and put that cap pressure very early on. Now, Solyanka needs to make a return, though, Moff. Giving up 2 rounds on airfield would be a disaster, because, let's be real, El Halouf, it can be a little bit of a coin flip from time to time, and a Conquest would definitely win 1 round.
Yeah, you don't want to roll the dice with the El Halouf brawl. Although we've seen teams starting to play El Halouf a different way. They're starting to play for the surround control rather than going into the sort of more 50-50, we would say, brawl in the north of the map. But they've got to think about airfield first. They've got to try and tie up the score 1-1. So we'll see what they're going to bring to do that.
I don't know if I like the double batchat on this map.
What's your issue with it?
I don't know. I just feel like a team that plays really heavy, something like what Conquest did, but without like double bat and plays towards the cap. It's really hard to get the bats involved.
Yeah, sometimes it is, but you can see they were farming pretty good damage in the end when the whole team is distracted. And of course, with that reload ability, it's not like they have to wait around for too long to come back and do another clip. But maybe if they had, 2 more heavy autoloaders, perhaps they could be in the immediate fight, but then you're kind of giving up map control a little bit, maybe some positions. We are going to see Conquest bringing the EBR from YOLO, that's the different YOLO from the YOLO in Mafia, and possibly going to end up just doing the exact same thing that we've seen before.
Double batchat for Solyanka, though. If they decide to commit there, I mean, it's going to be Danny and YOLO versus Victor and Vladislav, but you can already see it's only one of the bats. Vladislav is going towards the middle or holding the base. Victor will not commit on the B-line either, so they will have to do their own reaction to this B-line pressure. Victor spots out the EBR, so now he knows that, gotta go away. Shelby and the other E4 will not be able to hit anything over there either. Xang taking a shot to get up. Now, what does Solyanka do?
That is the question. The info has been provided for Conquest. They're obviously going to go into the strike. This time, though, we've seen a slight variation. We've got Danny, who's gone over towards the north as well. So they've got no presence in the south of the map right now, which means that Solyanka, if they want, they can take that strike in the south of the map, and they will do so at some point. It's only Donashka there on the balcony who can deny any kind of position at the moment. The double bat is already flanking through the J line, but Danny is responding to this potential threat. He's already rotating back into spawn, but is he going to get there in time to spot them?
I don't think so. So far, Vladislav and Victor are on a little bit of a hiatus, like a little tour of the map together, trying to find. They actually
It's close. He misses the timing by like 5 seconds there.
This could be a game ruiner.
Yeah, to be honest, I'm not really sure why Danny even went into B6 in the beginning. Anyway, there was nothing to be done there,
It
and he
depends
just
on the
wasted
batting
time.
here as well. Like, how do they drive?
Yeah, but Danny's shooting now, so they know exactly where he is.
know.
The jig is up. Danny is about to have a Turkish
boy.
1v1, and he's not going to be anything he can do about it.
Poor Danny boy, just getting deleted immediately from the side of Conquest. That wasn't even a Turkish 1v1. That was like a Turkish 7v1 MOF, to be honest. Even worse than usual. Yeah, that was rough.
Yeah.
That
You do
was
feel
real
you do
rough.
feel, you feel a little bit bad for him because he only missed the timing by a few seconds, but I reiterate what I said earlier. There was no reason for him to even be in B6 when the EBR has already got control. Now Conquest, they're making a reaction. They have to try and do something because they've lost the entire map, really. The double bat is just always going to be a threat from behind. Danashka trying to do what he can, trying to peek into 2 guns versus 1, but it's only going to go one direction.
Seven. The bad shots, Vladislav and Victor are reloaded and are coming close, and currently Conquest has not been able to find any kills yet, and here they come in the backside from behind. The bad shots started to unload onto the sides of Conquest, who have found absolutely nothing to go for them in this round. And a similar story as for Cashback in the previous match. In these kind of engagements at EBR, really cool that it took the beeline, but he is just a spectator, an NPC almost, as you would want to call it, in this kind of battle. And for Solyanka, they hit a timing. 5 seconds MOF can be an extremely long time, and Danny needed to be 5 seconds quicker to actually hit this, and Solyanka is going to bring it just all even after airfield.
Yeah, the fine margins. Danny's he's not had a good time playing the Batchat on airfield. He's had quite a few unfortunate moments, but as it is, Solyanka tie up the scoreboard. YOLO just doing what he can, just driving around, going for a bit of maybe go for an EBR racing jump. Potentially he bounces a shot as well, and he manages to drop off. He does not.
He lived for a moment. For a brief moment, he was alive.
He lived until he died.
Good stuff there from Solyanka. The timing, yeah, as soon as EBR spots nobody going, the bat should be turning around to base, and he would have spotted this.
Yeah, I said it twice already, but I'm trying to think what he saw in like going to B6, but there's just no reason to be there at all, really, when you have control of it already.
Damage-wise, I mean, Sang there on the top of the damage board. The bats coming in pretty decent as well. All across, very even, very nicely spread. That's what you want to see. For Conquest, they're really going to be kicking themselves, losing the rounds after winning that first one the way they did.
Yeah, Danny had the classic. It was at this moment that he knew.
It's complete the sentence.
Fudge.
Well, that was airfield though. We're in for some real quick action.
Yep, onto El Haluf. Teams traded out 1 for 1, so it could still be concluded on El Haluf. Will we see just default North play, or do you think someone might try to do the tiki-taka surround strategy?
I don't know. The tiki-taka surround strategy, I think it can be beaten rather easily by retaking your own base, but it can work. However, depends on how many times go beeline. I think Conquest might try it actually. I feel like they're the kind of team that might try it.
Yeah, and they have pretty bad win rate on El Haluf before now, so why would you not try something different to mix it up a bit? The teams have had a pretty good amount of time, like, to study, because we've seen this strategy used on a couple of occasions, so teams should be getting a better idea of how they want to react to it, but because so far it's worked pretty much flawlessly and nothing has really gone wrong. The team that takes the North doesn't react appropriately and they just push into a crossfire, or they have to suicide to reset the cap and then the game just ends.
I don't know, I just feel like Conquest might do it. It's definitely a strat that I don't know if it's that easy to counter in the beginning. Like, it all depends on how many tanks you want to send quick through the B line, because if you do, you always run the risk of losing one, like we saw Hit and Run do.
Yeah, I don't think any team should really be doing that anymore if they're actually just playing full North. But of course, if you do send someone through the outside to try and cut close to get to the North as quickly as possible, you might lose a tank, but at least you find out that they aren't playing North.
Which fight do you prefer though, A1 or C2? I know I ask you this every time, but you're gonna answer it every time as well.
C2.
You have to elaborate, eh?
A1 is just one corner, everyone just peeks into everyone, and one of the teams wins. C2 is like a little bit more nuanced because it's about how you position yourself on the ridgeline. Playing tanks like the Inspire tanks, Udes, STB, Sentai X, is really quite cool. It's really quite cool to play there because you've constantly got to be looking at the minimap and realizing, okay, I need to be on this side of the ridgeline, now I need to move over here, so that you don't get caught, because you know that you're always the target.
Lineup storm off. This doesn't look like any outside control. Solyanka with double 50B, double CS, and triple Blitzka?
It could still be, though,
it's just
to some
unlikely.
extent.
You want
It's
at least one
unlikely.
of those DDs, no?
Yeah, double 50B. We'll see what they're going to try and do. Whether they're going to push towards A1 and try and overpeak and do some clips in the beginning of the game. You would imagine that Conquest aren't going to try and play for the A1 brawl, because with 4 Bliskovitzes, that tank has 0 gun arc, so trying to play around the corner is not the greatest experience in the world.
Let me take in the
taking
info.
info.
Yeah, might be baiting that they're playing outside. You know, CS is pretty quick, can get into the game really, really quickly again, and could be baiting that they're playing towards the outside. BZ going towards the outside as well. I mean, Conquest is definitely cooking something here.
Yeah, and there's a lot of tanks committed from Solyanka into A1. That's 4 from their team, so if they make any kind of rotation, they will be spotted. YOLO takes a shot from the Bliskovitzer in the beginning. Sentai X turret, it is pretty strong, but it's not going to stand up to those high pen tank destroyers. Lally now capturing the strike, but look at Lemmy Yo. He is absolutely zooming, gonna flank them already in A4, but he does get spotted for this, so they are aware of his position. What can he really do from here?
Yes, be careful as well. He's gonna go on the scenic route, and that gives Solyanka a moment of time to potentially just straight
They're
push.
boxed in. They're boxed in, though. If he stays in A6, he's gonna go for the info again, which I don't really agree with, because you already know where they all are. You already know that they're all in the corner. The guys in A1 can't go anywhere without being spotted, so I don't agree with going for the info here. If anything, it gives Solyanka more info than it gives Conquest,
They're
because it
flanking
tells
with a
them...
Blitzka. It's Danashka on the flankeroo.
But he's only going up through middle, so he's
thought
just
he was-
going to join Lally.
Thought he was gonna go for the big flank, actually.
Yeah, that could have been something. Solyanka, though, there's a choo-choo train. Double CS, or 1 CS and 50 Bs. They're moving up. They haven't quite pulled the trigger yet. They're just waiting for a timing of sorts. But you see all of these Bliskovitzes, they're super hold down, and YOLO is prepared for this.
YOLO is prepared for this. He does spot it out. Radislav takes the first shot, but now Lali and Danashka, I feel like they might just get bypassed.
Yeah, they're just going to ignore them completely and go over into the other tanks. Big strike comes out. The double 50B have to work now. The damage reduction. Danny gets tracked and held, though. He is also Amrak, so he is going to be out of the round. That's a quick kill picked up from the side of Solyanka, and Lemmy is completely out of the fight right now in his CS63. Solyanka taking advantage.
Taking advantage, but can they make it work? Lemmy's now in the fight as well. Danashka's in the middle of them. That might be a mistake, but the press gets blown up in the CS63. And now Radim, YOLO, and Flawless trying to bully themselves back in, but they have to go up, because if they don't, Danashka will be the one to take the whole pounding from everybody from Solyanka, and that's exactly what's happening. YOLO's now going for Trash Panda and the 50B. He will get clipped out for that at the very least, though. Trash Panda has one more shot available, makes him a one-shot. YOLO bounces that one even, and Solyanka and Conquest, I would say, are about even right now. Take that back, though, has only 3 tanks left standing for Solyanka. Make that 4 for Conquest now. Could go either way. Victor will find YOLO here. Not over just yet. 3v3, 3v2 now, back in favor of Conquest, but they have double the HP though.
Yeah, I think they should have gone for the push. As soon as Lemmy started taking the strike in C7, he's so out of the fight at that moment, right? I think that was the moment to go. As it is, Conquest managed to hold on. They hold out the push. They weather the storm from the side of Solyanka. The double 50B did some pretty good damage with the clips, but as it is, Conquest pick up the round win, and they take the lead in this series. Victor now just stalling it out, just going to waste a bit of time trying to not give away fastest win, but this game is over.
50B not the greatest tank for this kind of push though. It does its
No.
clip against Danny, but because of the Juggernaut ability, they're both on reload after. So
Yeah.
it's quite a long downtime. That downtime is enough for Lemmy to arrive.
Yeah, so they have less damage in their clips, and then they're still out of the fight for such a long time. We saw Danashka, he was just in the middle of the entire enemy team, but he was still able to survive for a really long time because the 50Bs were on reload and couldn't actually, you know, fight back against him. Victor taking us for a tour of the map as Radium looks to try and get the hunt. Conquest has, like, completely halted their positions, which is, you know, it's fine. They want to just make sure that they secure the round. It is possible that they could lose this. They do have a one-shot. He's thinking about it.
Oh, jump, jump, jump.
Let the intrusive thought win. He's just going to go AFK for a little bit.
He has to push
Conquest,
back in.
Yeah, Conquest still haven't started the cap. They're going to play for strikes, which seems a little bit overcautious.
They're
but
collecting strikes.
yeah.
I mean, it's fun. They're gonna have 3 strikes. They're waiting for Radium to take his own strike as well. You know?
They've taken the radar
if
once.
They all hit,
all 3 strikes.
It's over. If.
Yeah, that could be a nice way to end the game with some fireworks. Radium, the last person to collect the strike. Victor's probably not going to be able to avoid it either because he's just sitting still at the moment. I think he knows what's going to come.
We need to see Victor's POV as he goes up in a mushroom cloud.
Yeah, Armageddon is coming his way.
Oh, info used. Victor is spotted. There goes the 3 strikes. 1. Oh, no, jump now. Dude, come, jump.
He's going to waste another 4 minutes.
They only hit 1 out of 3 strikes.
Yep, and now he's going to move as well, so they won't even know where he is. Ay, man. This is going to be the longest... Ooh. Parkour? Does he know how to do it? He does know how to do it. That's actually really impressive to do that.
That was very clean.
Yeah.
Especially because it's pretty hard to do that in the CS.
Yeah. The only tank you can really do it like reliably in is the EBR. RHM can do it as well, and the CS, but like to do it in a CS is like, that's really impressive that he gets the lineup there. So just showing us a little bit of mountain climbing skills. We wouldn't have seen that if they killed him with the strike.
Parts of the map we don't really see in Onslaught.
No, I'm not really familiar with this part of the map. Actually, I am, because when I play EBR, you can do that boost up that we saw Victor do, and no one ever expects it, so you pretty much always get into their spawn for free.
I'm gonna play round 2 of Strike Simulator.
Yep. It's like Battleship right now, just trying to guess where he is. Or guess where he's going to move to. I mean, there's a potential that they draw this game, but obviously a draw would still end up being a win.
Needs to go take a strike as well, though.
Yeah. A draw would still end up being a win for Conquest, of course. So from their POV, they're happy to just sit here and wait. It doesn't really mean anything if the game ends up with them not killing Victor. And I think both teams are quite happy to just take this sort of impromptu timeout in the middle of the match.
Victory is spotted.
He's dodging. He's only taking one.
He's taking 0.
No,
dude.
he's 0.
Oh my god. That's up. Guys, come on.
Right, that's D0, and that's
sad,
a miss.
Dude. They missed 3 strikes. 2 big strikes and a CS strike. I mean, are you even trying at that point?
Yeah. It is quite funny though that we just end up in this situation with the way it works, where they don't actually have to do anything. They can literally just wait for the entire duration of the map.
I mean, they are free to do as they please, right? It just gives them more time to discuss the next battle for both of these teams.
Well, let me start at the cap, and he will cap it by 1 second before the game ends.
That's calculated.
Unless Victor gets a reset. Is he sitting in a bush or not? I don't think he is. I don't believe he is sitting in a bush.
No,
So
he's just sitting on the side.
Victor can actually get the reset, and they only have 1 strike available at the moment. Radium's going to start collecting another one. Incredible POV. So much action.
Getting
he gets
outplayed.
reset.
Oh, here come the strikes again. Victor can. How many is he dodging this time?
It's just a sea of green.
Yeah, that time he wasn't dodging any of them. It seems like they're pretty decent at hitting a target if it's only moving 5 kilometers per hour. But yeah, Conquest puts himself a match point after that round of Morvanka, an extremely long round of Morvanka.
Yeah, it was very good. They soaked up the pressure that came from Solyanka. Solyanka's hand was kind of forced at that point, right, because they were just getting flanked. I still think, though, that if they just push when they know that Lemmy is so far away, because it's going to take him at least 30 seconds to get back into the fight, right? And if they made that call at that moment, I just get the feeling they may have won the round.
I agree. When I mean, the moment to push was exactly when he starts taking the info point, because it's useless. Take all 7 and push on something.
Yeah. I mean, it's also questionable why I said in the game, why is he even taking the info point when they know he should be playing A6.
A6, more like A8 to bushes, so you can actually spot them pushing to him. He cannot be A6.
You can spot from A6 as bushes though.
Is that A6? I'm in the bushes on the A line, you know, where there's a little hill. Is that A6?
A6. There's like you've got the little mounds in the spawn that you can like back up into.
And
then there's a bush. Away. There's a bush in front of it.
I know which bush you mean. That's the bush that I'm talking about. Is it A6?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
No, it is actually A6. I just thought it was further away. We're talking about the same bush. Yeah, that's exactly the one.
If he just sits there, they're completely locked in, and he can spot everything and use a single bush to shoot them if they push.
No, that's indeed where he should be, close enough to actually get into the fight. But the fact they still won it like this is pretty good, though, for Conquest.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned the double 50B, slightly questionable choice. It's obviously not ideal.
Like, it works for
it works for A1 because they peek around the corner. 50Bs have more health than Batchats as well, and because of their ability, they can deliver. I can't remember what the ability is called, but they can deliver the clip super quickly. So any tank that goes A1, they just overpeak and delete immediately. So it's not really ideal for them that they have to make this push, but that's kind of the trade-off when you bring such a lineup.
But like I said, I think that's just the time that Lemmy needs to drive into the battle. It's like 20 seconds in speedy mode. He gets there. They lost 1 tank, but at the same time, the double 50B is like not really doing anything.
Yeah, they're just vibing on the reload. They did pick up Danny pretty quickly, but obviously if you have to use your full clips, you have to use 2 50Bs full clips just to kill 1 guy, and then you have 2 AFKs for the next 30 seconds or so. It's not really ideal, but that was an interesting round of El Haluf. We did have to wait quite a long time in the end, but it wasn't a stalemate in the beginning.
Now, Moff, who takes it? Does Conquest actually upset Solyanka?
Potentially. I mean, I said that they could win some rounds. I think I predicted tiebreaker win for Solyanka. Will they return? Will they return and put it up to 2-2 in tiebreaker? That remains to be seen. But Conquest actually looking pretty good right now. Like all three of the rounds that we played, even though they lost, they look a little bit more locked in, I would say.
Can they lock it in on the last round of El Haluf? That is the question we all would like to see the answer to. Double CS, scenario 7, triple Blitzka. Okay, and a BZ for the side of Conquest.
Meanwhile, Depressed may switch over, and he does. That's over to a BZ, so a double BZ for the side of Solyanka, plus a Batchat, plus CS, Bliskavica, and double 268 V4, which is an interesting choice on this map given the lack of gun depression. They will have to torpedo into people to actually get anything done here. I do not like the BZ as a tank. I think it's just horrible to play. I know it has its uses because it's got the heal circle and it's got rocket boosters. It can tank a lot of damage for the team, but it just feels like such a useless tank half the time.
You don't like the BZ?
Nope.
Me neither.
A1 for Conquest.
Let's look at the fixture.
Yeah, he's just hanging around.
This is really bad
in the
for
back.
them.
This is very bad for them if it is just an A1 brawl. And they are committed with Vladislav, so they have to cover him. They've got the tank destroyers here, though he's trying to overpeak to get a reset on the strike, but that's not going to happen, buddy. You need to just back up and preserve your HP. But now he is stuck here, so if Conquest want to overpeak him, they can. There's double TD covering. Viksha now, keep an eye on him on the minimap. It's just moving around in the Batchat. He's going pretty wide here to try and avoid being detected. He's coming closer now, but I think he's not quite sure when he wants to go and what he wants to do right now.
Well, he's actually getting out traded there. I think he took a V4 shot and a CS63 shot. So Conquest kind of stuck a little bit now. It's another face-off. Do they dare to take the second strike? No, actually Trash Panda is going to do it himself. So he's going to get for the...
I think I prefer Solyanka right now because A1, Conquest have 3 tanks committed there. And they were locked in there. They know where they are the whole time. Whereas Vladislav is only 1 tank committed, which is a pretty light investment. Viksha now doing a bit of damage to Danny. He didn't have his ability active, which means that he's going to take the full damage from the double Batchat shot. And similar to what we saw in the last game, the medium tank on the offside is kind of boxing in the side of Conquest.
Who pulls the trigger first? And what is the trigger?
The trigger would probably be the Batchat doing something. But Vladislav is never going to peek here. I don't think they're ever going to overpeak Vladislav either. I think we're just going to go into the classic strike trading. It might end up... I don't think Vladislav would try and... Ooh, Danashka pushing in though. Going early, he's kind of a little bit alone as the rest of his team looks to support him. This push does not look good. I'm going to be honest. Strike comes in on towards Danashka and YOLO. The rest of the team coming in now to support. They think they found Novamatch. Lemmy trying to drive in and bait some shots, turn some heads. The trade's going on. Slightly in favor of Conquest at the moment.
Slightly in favor of Conquest. Danashka fluff in the shot though. They need to pick up Xank here. They are actually able to do that. Flawless is the one. And Conquest looking prime right now, to be honest, to win this game and win this matchup. The press is getting out, but Shelby, there's no escape for him. He gets picked up. Now the focus is going to shift on towards Dreamer or Trash Panda. Should pick Trash Panda probably in that BZ. A lot more squishy. Vladislav in the meantime falling as well. And now Picture's coming in with the Batchat mob, but it's far, far too late and far too little for him to do at this moment in time. It's 7 guns versus just 3 from Solyanka. I mean, the HP was pretty close for a while, but this number of guns is undefeatable for the side of Solyanka.
Yeah, it looked like a scuff push in the beginning because you had Danashka going in by himself initially, and then the rest of the team just sort of trickled in one by one. But either way, they get the job done. And it's going to be 3-1 for Conquest, and they'll pick up their second win in the OLS. They're now going to be on to 6 points and they have a genuine chance of making it to phase 2.
For Conquest, it's going to be very happy for them to win this series, especially against a team like Solyanka, who have been doing some upsets throughout the season, taking it to tiebreaker with teams that were extremely impressive as well, like Cashback. So they're very happy. Congratulations to them. 3-1 victory. Yeah, maybe W is not quite out of trouble just yet.
Yeah, not quite safe into the next round. Conquest, maybe they left it a bit too late to pick up these wins. We've only got one more match day to go in phase 1, but they're doing what they need to. Lally actually coming top damage with the IS-7. That's going to be obviously helped by the fact that he had strikes available. 5.2k and 2 kills in IS-7 is pretty good. Nonetheless, not the highest DPM tank. Pretty good across the board for their team. The double CS just driving into bait. Viksha really didn't get that much done. 12, 11, 8. He got 2 kills and only did 2.4k damage.
Yeah, Shelby there, the bottom of the table, 655. For him, only 1 shot of damage, but for Conquest, this in turn means that for them Sunday is a very important day. Coming out, the last day of phase 1 is this Sunday. So after this Sunday, what happens is we lose 2 teams. Number 7, number 8 will not continue into phase 2.
Yes, they will be eliminated from the competition, and phase 2 will then start with another round robin where all 6 teams will play each other again in a best of 7. They keep their points from the opening stages of the league so far, so it does matter every win that they get. And Solyanka obviously built up some points early on, which are going to be pretty important for them as they've just lost 3 games in a row.
Again, reminder, the prize pool, you can still contribute towards that if you want to. The packages with the camos and even a cool badge are available on the World of Tanks page. I've gotten mine. I don't think I think Moff got one as well, right? Did you, Moff?
I believe I have one on my account.
Okay,
yes.
okay. What about a second one or a third one?
I could buy more. I mean, you know I love camos.
Do you have the badge?
No, I don't have that.
You're not a badge collector?
No, I'm not a badge collector.
Yeah, to be fair, neither am I, because I don't ever use badges in game, you know, so...
You don't want to get
unwanted attention.
Badge focused.
But yeah, so again, for you guys watching at home, this is very important. Most of you have already or started to collect your drops or finishing them. Sunday is another day to collect 6 tokens, not 4. And then, of course, the week after again. And then the last week is the one where we really decide to be generous. So starting from this Sunday, every Sunday there's a stream as well. So don't be surprised when we go live on Sunday. I don't know if it's with Kihan or with Moff or with all 3 of us. I don't even remember.
Some combination of those individuals.
Some combination of that, some combination of those individuals. And on Sunday there's also a rental tank. Don't ask me which one.
I believe it's the Mouse and STB, or that could be the older ones. There's so many drops going around, there's too much free stuff for us to keep track of.
Yeah, I mean, Moff didn't even know there was a story.
It is. I knew. I did my homework.
Did you know?
Yes, I did.
Last week
but
you didn't even know.
I do not like the fact that it's an STB, though. I think the STB sucks.
No, listen,
guys,
Moff,
wait, no, guys, pick
dude.
the STB. It's great.
Moff, come on. Like, that's minus 10% again. Mouse pretty usable, though, on some maps, at the very least. So you can collect those on Sunday. Now, the standings, though. After today, Storm is going to be leading the pack with 15 points. Cashback making their way to position 2, actually overtaking Hit and Run due to the round difference there. +5 for them, +4 for Hit and Run, who had a defeat against Storm. Then W making position 4, position 5, with Mafia on position 4. So W hopping over Solyanka.
Yeah, Solyanka, they started strong, but they look to have stalled out a little bit. Like I said, they lost 3 rounds in a row.
Not correct, though. I don't think that they have minus 12. This looks to me like -1 round difference, where Conquest is on -5.
Yes, that does seem to be incorrect, but they started so strong and now they've dropped down to 6th position. They're only 3 points ahead of Conquest, so Conquest still has a chance to make it into the next round. I think
I need
Clueless...
to look at what is the first tiebreaker rule if teams have the same amount of points, if it's head-to-head or round difference. I don't remember, because it's not that important for me to know the rules by head. But I will ask Phil. Because if it's round difference, it will be a lot harder than you imagine.
Yeah, because it will be like, oh, they beat them, but that team... It's just a chain, it's just a circle of...
With them being on -1 and Conquest being on -5, if that's the first decision maker, they would need to win really hard next week, and Solyanka would need to lose really hard.
Yeah, Solyanka have not really... I don't think they've been wiped out 3-0 in any of their games, which obviously helps a lot, and it just shows the importance of winning every individual round, right? Even if you don't win the series overall, even if you lose in tiebreaker, it's still important.
Yeah, but you talked about it. Solyanka kind of dropping off a little bit. Then again, they also had a crushing defeat, though. Remember the tiebreaker loss against Cashback? Kind of the same story as for W, right?
Yeah, I mean, W have had some pretty good wins, also some very bad losses, and that's kind of what you expect from the teams that are in the middle of the pack, right? They win some games, and then they lose some games. Storm pulling ahead though. I think we kind of doubted them going into the OLS. I feel like maybe subconsciously we thought that they won the OLC, and it was like, are they really the best team? Is kind of a question mark. But at the moment, they're at the top of the leaderboard. They've got 15 points, and that's the way it is.
That's really, really good for them. Do you believe that W is on the uptrend, though? Then it's my final question for today.
I don't think they're up or down in trend. I think they're kind of just the same, like
paddling in place.
The conclusions that we've drawn from the match versus Clueless, they won the game, which is the most important thing, of course. But the way they won it is still questionable. So for them as a team, there's still those question marks over whether they can consistently battle with the guys at the top of the table like Storm, Hit and Run, Cashback.
That's indeed a very good thing to watch out for in the future. Can W provide us with a decisive win? We will have to find that out next time. I want to thank you guys all at home for watching. That was enough from me and Moff for today. But like I said, we are coming back on Sunday with more Onslaught Legends Series. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll send you off with some replays and see you guys all on the very next one.
What? What's happened? You.
Let's move out.
Ready to fire.
Kaboom! Let's destroy this lunatic.
He's back.